Good morning and welcome to day 2 of Global Time Attack's Ridge Motorsport Park Speed Summit. As you can tell, it's actually a very beautiful day outside. If you were tuning in with us yesterday, you saw that for a majority of the day it was raining and for the rest of it it was overcast and the track was still damp. That did not stop a couple records from falling, a couple people from getting great lap times, and quite a few people from surprising us at this event. Mark, what did you pick up from yesterday?
Well, a big thing I'm going to first start off with, like you talked about, weather yesterday was rough. The first few sessions, the guys really had a tough time. A lot of people didn't go out because, well, you don't want to go out on slicks. So it didn't give them a ripe opportunity to go out and really learn this track as they needed to, because a lot of these people haven't actually been here before. But what we're looking at today is, I'm looking at the weather here. We got 3-mile-per-hour winds, cloudy with a little overcast, but most importantly, no rain, Cuban. It is looking good.
Yeah, overcast, I agree. The sun's out a little bit, but the best part about the day is this lapping group that we have out here is going to get a little bit of heat into the track before the time attack session. So guys, sit here, enjoy these beautiful views of the track. We have about 15 minutes of a lapping group, and then we're going to go live to time attack. My name is Cuban Rodriguez. Mark Yeager is my co-host, and we're here to be with you all day at Speed Summit Ridge Motorsport Park. As you can see here at Ridge Motorsport Park, this is Cuban Rodriguez, and with me, Mark Yeager. Even in the morning of the best day we've had, the track is still cold. It's still very simple to overshoot or overcook a corner, and the people who are going to do their best to warm up the track for us are getting taken off right now so they can tow this vehicle off.
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, this is like very first lap, very first thing, and, well, this is what happens, right? Guys get a little overambitious, a little too excited. And I believe this is his first day here. He wasn't here yesterday, so he was probably just a little too excited going out there, trying to get some laps in and trying to go too fast. And it looks like when we panned out a little bit before that, he made a little bit of a mistake. He could have easily just stayed along the outside edge and came back in. Apparently he hasn't watched enough F1 Cuban.
I was about to say, and it's not, listen, if you don't do this a lot, it's pretty easy to just want to take the shortest path back on track. But you definitely don't want to go over the things that are meant to stop you during a high-speed incident.
モータースポーツで得た高度な技術をすべてのレイズホイール一本に込める魂は永遠に変わらない。ビヨンド・ザ・レボリューション。ザ・コンセプト・イズ・レーシング。
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU. The performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
The 20th anniversary of American Time Attack is approaching fast. From the days of import tuning magazines to digital dominance, this thing of ours is here to stay. Tune in to Global Time Attack Finals at Buttonwillow November the 9th and 10th to celebrate where it all began.
That was a great shot there of the Ridge Motorsport Park last year and Global Time Attack Buttonwillow. This is going to be an awesome 20th anniversary, and I'm not going to lie, I'm super excited about it. While we're waiting for them to get this gentleman off and we can send the lapping group back out, let's go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday. Let's see if we can get our times up for Enthusiast class, because I think that's actually one of the first exciting stories of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got James Avellina sitting at the number one spot with a 152.690. That's actually going to be a front-wheel drive record. So the record was previously held by Jeffrey Butera, and he was actually in a Honda Civic Type R as well. He had a lap time of a 1:54.877. So this is a smash of a record by over 2 seconds. What do you think about that, Cuban?
I think it was in an FK8 Type R. I think it was in
Okay.
a previous generation. Not that matters, but it does to me because, Honda guy life. I actually think it's really cool for 2 reasons. James proved that he has a lot of confidence in the car. We know both those chassis are extremely capable, okay? So it's not a one over the other situation. He just had a lot of confidence in the car, and he actually broke the record the first session without rain when it was damp. And then in the second session, he broke his own record again. Now, that alone is probably one of the most impressive things I've seen. We also have Edward there in second place at a 54.
Which that would have been a record breaker as well, by the way.
Absolutely. That's the thing that gets me here. We have 2 Civic Type Rs here, and if James hadn't showed up, Edward would actually have the record right now in Enthusiast front-wheel drive.
Absolutely.
Now, they're both chasing Jonathan Wheeler, I believe, right? Jonathan
Correct.
Wheeler has a 48.462?
48.905.
905. Okay, 48.905. That's the record that everyone now in Enthusiast wants to chase because he has taken his drivetrain record, but you want to hold the overall.
You always want the overall. That's the ultimate goal. That's what you always want to push for. So you always have to push for it.
Let's go ahead and shoot over to street class. And here's where it's starting to get really fun, right? In street class right now, we absolutely have a battle between second and third. Ryan Frazier just came out very strong. We had the damp session. He came out and did a 48, I believe, or a 49. But then that final session and scrubbing in those new tires of his, he just laid down a 44 and just decided that street class belongs to him right now.
Yeah, I was really impressed by his ability to ride this car out in the wet, and it seemed like it really paid some dividends later on in the day when he was able to lay down this 44, able to learn the track a little bit better, get used to the tires, get used to everything. I actually heard he's going to put on the Nankings today and try those out.
That's great. What sucks, though, is the person who was chasing him in second place is not going to see the track again today.
Yeah, poor Mitchell Huey, man. He ended up thinking he had a wastegate issue. He went through. They actually found a wastegate at 1 a.m. this morning, pushing it hard to get that car ready to go. And poor Mitchell, the team found out that the turbo was done, so they're unable to push any more lap times today.
Not to take away from the sad story of Mitchell, but did you see how pro that was?
That was super pro.
The car was going up sideways, and they couldn't straighten it out because of the stuff on the wheels. And he literally spun that tow truck to straighten the car out. That was super cool. It does hurt to see the person in second place who had a lot of time left on the table.
Absolutely.
They hadn't even come close to breaching the potential of their car, and they're out. So it's really going to come up to Charles Lincoln and Lan Trung to step it up. There's a lot left here, but what really is happening is we know Ryan Frazier had all the confidence to send the car in those final sessions. We know that Charles Lincoln and Lan have more time left on the table. Limited class. This is another really exciting one. Yingji Pan in his 911 GT3 RS actually just reset the limited rear-wheel drive record.
Absolutely. This is absolutely exciting. We love to see records fall here. And so he took the record from Lawrence Yun. Lawrence Yun's record was a 1:43.366. So that's over 3 seconds pulled off that record, which is absolutely amazing. Records are falling, and they're falling deep.
Well, and we'll get to it later, but the person whose record we took is actually in GTX class running a 36.8.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Yes.
Yeah. So the 36.8 he ran in GTX, he may have lost his limited record, but he was still flying. Now, the other story right now is the person who is right on his tail. Different drivetrain, by the way, so this is important. But with a 1:43.20, George Zhao, he just reset the limited all-wheel drive record. And we spoke about George yesterday quite a bit. You know our love for the work he's put into the car and really trying to advance. But honestly, all of these drivers, and I said this yesterday about George, were pulling seconds out when it mattered. Because George was in a 43, you know what I mean? Yingji was in a 42, and they were stuck there. And then, boom, Yingji comes out and does a 40, leaving George in the dust. And then George just comes right back to be within a 2/10 of him. So seeing George Zhao go out and really lay down a flying lap is incredible. It just leads us to believe there's so much left on the table.
An important part to that, too, is he broke his own record. His previous record was a 1:40.671, and he broke his own record by 0.3. And from what I'm hearing, he still has some gas in the tank, and he's going to be going for some more time.
No, absolutely. And, there's a lot of people that we're still looking at right now. Let's not forget Kasem Farm. Let's not forget Alex Paquet. These guys are really putting it in. Even Stefan's doing a good job.
Stefan's still
but
got
I
a lot
think
to give.
anyone through 1 through 4 is fighting for this podium spot right now. Unlimited, though. I think Unlimited has been pretty fun. We've seen some things that we were not ready to see. You know what I mean? First of all, the final session of yesterday, we were watching Bailey Woods from our booth and from the cameras and from the drone. And this man is not lifting through one at all. He is taking it all the way to the 50-yard marker or the 50-meter marker. He's tapping the brake, he's turning left, and he's just carrying all that speed up the hill. He completely overshot turn 11 and still ran a 41.123.
Yeah, Bailey has definitely done a world of greatness with this car. He's impressed all of us, and we were talking yesterday. He had a small off at the end of the day, and I had a conversation with him afterwards. And like me and Cuban were talking about, I was being a little bit more reserved, saying it could shake his confidence a little bit going into today. But Cuban was absolutely right. Definitely a situation where Bailey said that didn't shake my confidence at all. If anything, it actually grew my confidence. That let me know where I needed to cage my expectations, bring it back a little bit, and I'm going to actually be able to go faster because of that small minor mistake. Now he's going to be able to push it further. And he definitely believes he'll be able to get under that sub 40 mark. And I think a big thing here, Kevin Phillips, right? A 144. Honestly, I think after talking with him a little bit, he believes there's much more left in this truck.
No, there absolutely is much more left in the truck. And Kevin's a great guy. And I'm going to tell you right now, he definitely regrets not going out that damp session when it was absolutely dry enough for it, because that's the session that allowed Bailey to come out when it was dry and lay down a 41, remember? So he needed that. So I don't know, more than anything, I think we're going to see some good laps out of these guys. And that's basically what's been going on. I'll show you the GTX class. We do have Lawrence Yun with a 136.897, currently the fastest person on track. Lawrence just came out in that Cup car and decided that he is going to have all the confidence in the world. There was not a single session where he didn't improve 90% of the laps.
Yeah, he was going crazy fast in that rain. It was absolutely astounding to watch him just belt this car out throughout the entire morning. While everyone else was kind of getting out there and tiptoeing around, he did not. He just went out there and started flying.
Yep. So we're going to go over it, guys. Group 3 is about to go out. It's 10:19. They go hot at 10:20. My guess is as soon as this tow truck has made its way off the track, I wonder what it feels like to tow a car down the downhill there.
That must be kind of
It probably feels pretty awkward, to be honest with you. Group 3, guys. Group 3 are lining up. That's going to be Charles Lincoln, followed by Jason Aguilar. We've got Skylar Johnson, followed by Jarek Rourke. Lan Trung in his TTRS, followed by Meng Chi Cheng. Danielle Maxwell and Eric Johnson in that black DA Integra, who Mark had a chance to talk to the driver of. We have Jennifer Oker in her Subaru WRX STI, followed by Joel Bergman, Efren Flores, and John Janox in his Chevrolet Corvette. You see the drifters have already started getting warmed up over there. You can see the entire drift paddock here underneath the drone. It's been a killer event here. This view is what I wish people in the paddock could see, because just how beautiful the track is. It's just a hill in the way here. I feel like they purposely designed it to tease us like this, because honestly, that's not a fair thing to the guys sitting here. It's so beautiful out there. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the go-kart track, Mark, but I was watching some after the event. I was watching them do some laps. Go-karts could be a little bit faster, but the track is like almost identical layout of this track. It's awesome.
Well, it's really cool. Like you said, it's an identical layout of the track, and it allows people to go out there and go-karts and have a good time. It really allows for a family outing, per se. You can come, check out the drifting, see the cars. There's a couple show cars hanging out. You can just see, every race car is a show car, obviously. So you can go out, check out their pits, and have a good time. And at the same time, hey, you can pop in and do a little go-karting, and it's a great time.
100%.
Speed Summit, baby.
Coda's the same. Just don't forget that. Coda's got a mini Coda around back go-kart track.
Absolutely. I was kind of depressed that I didn't get an opportunity
Carla
to do
broke her arm there.
I remember
that. Yeah, it was
that.
the saddest thing I've ever seen, man. So, actually, I wish you would do that. We do have these cars going out on track. It's more than you're going to see than you saw yesterday. The good news is, obviously, this track is extremely long for what it is. A lot of low-speed corners. No one's going to have an issue. As long as everyone minds their gap, there's not going to be an issue at all. I know Tony was harping on the drivers even harder than yesterday because of people not minding the gap.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit yesterday, and I think there's a lesson learned there for everybody. to really be able to get your optimal lap time and time attack, you have to, again, I'm going to say it again, strategy, strategy, strategy. There's a huge game of strategy here, and you have to play it, and you have to play it right.
Beautiful PRE car right there. It really pops when you got that highlighter yellow. I mean, people think that, colors like that are gaudy. And yeah, sure they are. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not. But we're talking about race cars. These cars are getting photos taken of them. You want your car to be extremely attractive and noticeable in a photo from 50, 60 feet away. So I love people that really embrace that. Everyone's a fan of black cars. Mark, we're both fans of black cars. Do I want a black race car? Absolutely not.
No.
Do I want a race car with black wheels? Absolutely not. Looks great in the parking lot. Looks like a blob on the track.
That's the thing, right? So you've probably heard me say this once. You've probably heard me say this many a times. But the one thing that I kind of akin time attack and drifting to have a similar kind of story is you got to have a good-looking livery. And this is just race cars in general, I will say. But you got to have a good-looking livery. You got to have something, like you said, that pops, that stands out, that actually something that people want to take photos of. I always tell people, at the end of the day, you want to have something that when someone sees it, they can't resist not pulling out their phone and taking a photo.
I think you're 100% correct, man. We got Charles Lincoln going down the front straight, followed by Jason Aguilar in his limited class car. We're going to start seeing these cars start to funnel through. There's a good gap, it looks like we have from car to car. We have a beautiful, now this is anti-mark here, but it's an enthusiast car, so it's okay. A beautiful Subaru right there, just nice dark gray. I bet you that is a vehicle that he tracks, that he's trying to get into time attack with, and I'm going to give him and every enthusiast car a pass when they're stepping their foot in the ring. But if you make it to street class, it better look good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a chance to talk with Skyler a little bit earlier today. He said he is feeling super confident, and we were able to see that yesterday. In the wet, he was looking really good.
He wasn't so scared.
No.
He made a couple mistakes, but he wasn't afraid to push it, and I think that's really good.
Yeah, and so he's shooting today for a 54, which is a really good time for him. And one thing that he's had to kind of adapt and learn with is these tires. Obviously, a lot of these guys don't generally use a 220 tread wear tire when they come to the track. Usually they're using the 200 tread wear. And that's a situation where it's difficult, right? You're having to adapt and change braking zones, so on and so forth. So he adapted, he learned yesterday, and he's expecting to get those lap times down today.
The best part about that is, you take what you learn and you move with it. That's the biggest thing you can talk about. You take what you learn and you move with it.
Skyler's a young guy, too. And it looked like he had his father and a friend out there helping him out, maybe a brother. So it's cool to see, the whole family out there having a good time, time attacking the world away. All right, we're getting everybody across the line, getting their warm-up laps completed and starting their first flyers. We got a bunch of gap going on, so it looks like guys are going to really be able to put in a solid lap on this. Looks like everybody's doing a really good job, too, of minding the track limits and not
more
ending
than
up in
that,
the dirt.
we have Charles Lincoln laying down the first lap time of 158.943. Jason Aguilar and his GTR just behind him at a 56.309. It looks like Jason, you want to say woke up the car faster, but obviously it is going to be a little bit easier to put heat into the tires of a GTR for two reasons. No, this is, we make fun of the names, but the car's heavy.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking, too.
The car is heavy. It's rear-wheel drive bias, and it's got incredible brakes. How do you put weight into how do you put heat into tires? You braking zones, and you add weight and traction to that. Absolutely fantastic. Jason Aguilar is not even the fastest person around this track, though. Jared Rourke in his enthusiast class car with a 154.199.
Wow, that's looking pretty good. He's projecting a 152 or 53, actually, because, when he was using his 200 tread wear tires, that's about where he was at. But he's saying, hey, I got this thing situated. I think I can maybe be able to get really close to that lap time. Kind of something to note on Jason Aguilar's car there. We were talking about the GTR and how good the brakes are. You know what? I was talking to him a little bit earlier, and, man, the thing that he said he's actually struggling with the most are the brakes. But I think, honestly, it was about pad choice. I think he made a poor pad choice, and that's really hindering his ability to get that car broke down. He's saying he's having to brake exponentially earlier than he ever expected to.
Well, that's a big one right there. You think that you have enough pad for the vehicle, and you can have a car with much smaller brakes than another car that still stops great if you've done your pad options correctly and you balance your vehicle. But that just comes from inexperience. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've all made those mistakes. We've all bought the Hawk GTC 40s when we should have bought 60s. You know what I mean? That's a good one people can figure out right there. we all overcompensated and bought Hawk Blues, and they destroyed our rotors. Right? We've gone through the gambit.
An interesting story. Guess what he bought?
What?
HP pluses.
It's a street
pad. Two street
pad. Yeah, but that's the thing, he has big brakes, so the car is still going to at least do its job, but he's going to learn from this one, and he's going to know next time he goes out not to make that mistake. But it does hurt to not try to use something that he was uncomfortable with. It's a good job that he didn't just take everyone else's advice, but he needs to reach out to people that he trusts and people that do this for fun all the time, because I don't know a single person that would buy a set of HP Pluses to even drive hard through a canyon.
Yeah, it's a real tough thing to do, especially on those GTRs. Like you said, they're so heavy. It's just gonna freaking melt those pads down, basically. Skylar Johnson with a 1:55.4. He's looking pretty good. I think he's got another second in him, though.
Yeah, Jared Rourke pulled a second out of his fastest lap. It does look like Jason Aguilar's second lap was about a tenth slower. So the bigger problem we're running into is brake fade comes faster too.
Yep, absolutely.
He's going to have to overuse these brakes, and due to that, they're going to fade faster. And the downside is GTRs don't have the same calipers as other cars. Like, you remember back in the day when you had your Subaru? That was Subaru Evo 350Z Sport Package. And then that same pad is in the FK8 Type R, FL5 Type R. It was the generic Brembo OEM pad.
Yeah,
but the GTR does not have those brakes. The GTR has a bigger brake caliper. So it's not, you can't just go, borrow somebody's or look for them easily. And that's the only downside. I think that was the coolest part about buying all these cars with the same sports package style brakes. The parts were easier to get. You could borrow them at the track from somebody else. That was super cool.
Yeah, Jason Aguilar here. He's looking really good, though. The car is looking really fresh, too.
He's taking the wide line, the old school line.
Yeah.
You'll hear us talk about that in our track drive video, but yesterday we saw quite a few people, even lower horsepower cars, develop this line where they attack the downhill straight on, and then they drive straight at the U-turn, diamond the corner, and carry more speed. It's a better wheel-to-wheel line, you would say, but honestly what it is, it's a better line for them to be able to put the power down, too. And due to how the corks or the downhill is set up, it makes a really big difference for them. Now, we still don't know which line is faster. We just know that the low horsepower car of Bailey Woods, one of the fastest guys out here, period, is doing that. And he has no power to actually power whatsoever to actually get. So it's obviously just an easier line probably. It probably sets you up better for that small kink down the front straight.
Yeah, I believe so. All right, we got Charles Lincoln, just ran a 1:55.0, which is his best lap time of the event so far. So one thing that does happen, as you can kind of see here, right, as you start getting into how the session progresses, right, you see people being passed in the back. We see guys kind of bunching themselves up. This is something, again, I'm going to say it again, guys, time attack strategy. You got to make sure to give yourself a gap. Sometimes you can play the rabbit in the hare. And
we're on laps 3 and 4 though. You can't. Once laps 3 and 4 happen, it's
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, people are on cooldowns. Not everyone is doing the lap at the same pace.
It makes it difficult because this is where it becomes very difficult in these 20-minute sessions, because now you end up in these situations where guys are on opposite strategies. Maybe you're doing a hot lap, cold lap strategy.
The only thing that's more difficult is you have to use your brain. I know this is going to sound really rude, but if you catch up to somebody, you go in the hot pits and you ask for a gap. These pit guys,
that's the strategy, guys.
These pit guys will literally hold you until it's nice and clean opening, and then they'll send you out. I will never understand, with all the years I've been doing this and all the years I've helped teams and all the years I've been going, that someone will willingly follow another car for 3 laps instead of just pulling into the pits.
Couldn't agree with you more. And the worst part is when I hear these guys come into the pits and they start whining about being held up. Pull in. No one's telling you have to stay out, guys. You got to pull in. Jared Rourke here, he's the faster car. But look, now he's got to do this pass down the front straightaway, which is now
what was happening there is
Skylar's on a hot lap, now it's going to be ruining his
Skylar was finishing a hot lap, so he didn't slow down by any means. He didn't brake. He just pulled to the inside, But bigger than anything, that's just a waste of both of their time.
Yeah, they gotta get it.
It's fine though, because truth be told, no one's setting faster laps right now on their 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, Skylar Johnson did on that lap, but the sun has actually been out. The track is getting warm. What I don't understand is for the 4th lap in a row, I'm watching Jennifer Oker go down the front straight at 30% throttle. I don't know what's going on with her car. See, this is actually the track guy telling her to keep going. I'm not sure she understands what this flag means, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's very strange. Her car's going really slow, and it doesn't really make any sense. Looks like, oh, she might be stopped. Oh, we got a kerfuffle.
Yeah, I'm very confused about what's going on right here.
We got some debris on track, it looks like, up ahead, which makes sense based on the flag.
Someone's going to have a conversation with these drivers when they come back in. There's no doubt about that.
I wonder if that was something that was hanging off or flipping off that car, and that's why they slowed down as much as they did. They have a yellow flag posted up at start-finish. It's kind of letting drivers know that there's debris and things up ahead. Just making sure that they understand, because you don't want to run over that and then carry on to turn one with that high-speed turn one. Jared Rourke in that Enthusiast class S2000, 240SX is leading the pack with a 153.320.
No, it's a great lap time too. He has a lot of experience at this track, so a 53 is leading Group 3, and that's actually a really good time to be. That's a really good time to be leading this session.
Agreed, 100%.
The groups have been significantly faster, and I cannot wait to see Group 2, to be honest with you, because that's where people really started to be super tight with each other in Group 2 yesterday. Now, we did re-rack a lot of these cars, so don't get me wrong, these guys are in a better order than they were yesterday, but we're going to see the times have to be re-racked again very quickly. Just due to the weather.
It's looking pretty good, though. Look at that. It's 53, then
I agree 100%, but the people were nowhere near where they started.
I get you.
That's what I'm saying. The re-racking is going to have to happen again.
Yeah. The re-racking of all the drivers in the group. Yeah. We got a tow truck on the track there. We're going to try to see if we can see what they're going out here to accomplish.
Actually, what I say is, while that tow truck's out, let's see if we can get a video of what this track is like right now. Just different from where it was yesterday. Mark and I had the ability to go out there and drive it again in the dry. So let's get that video up for you guys so you know what's going on. All right, guys, here we are, Ridge Motorsport Park, Speed Summit, Day 2. We got to drive this track day 1 in the rain, and we wanted you to really see the differences of the track and how the track actually looks in the dry. Mark also wanted to give me a chance to ruin lines also, so he could talk trash about it after. But you guys saw yesterday, we're going to show you today. I think the biggest difference between yesterday and today is just you could see a little bit more with it being brighter outside, but more than anything, the lines make a little bit more sense because there's not puddles everywhere. I'm going to let Mark go ahead and commentate my lines because he loves making me feel terrible. But realistically, we just want you guys to be able to see how this track looks and more so what these drivers are really dealing with. Yesterday, we got to see a few people. I'm going to mention Bailey Woods. Bailey Woods is wide open throttle through this corner. The guys at the line and us on the stream noticed that he didn't lift or brake until this exact point, and I'll just let Mark take it from here.
Yeah, so this is going to be one of the most exciting corners on the track. Turn 1, he's coming in full throttle. As he brakes in the braking zone with the 3 cones, he's trying to get it down. He's probably in the 70 to 85 mile an hour zone. This is a very interesting crest. You come up, and it's very blind. Very difficult to see what's going on. As Cuban's doing here, you're kind of having to find your place. Then you're going to be out toward the rumble strip, trying to get yourself situated so you can belt on the throttle, get over on the left-hand side, and then you're kind of straight lining through this S section. Very interesting part of the track. Again, we started seeing all these blind crests. We're very high up in our car, as we stated yesterday, and we can kind of see a little bit more in most of the time, but I will say, what do you think, Cuban? There's a lot of places that's hard to see.
It's even harder. Look, we can see this corner here, right? And anyone who has any track experience knows this is obviously a late apex corner, but my first lap around here, even me, I turned too early. You're going to want to be out until about here is my assumption, and this is where you see people start to turn in. But even this feels too early.
It feels too early. It's too early. It's a very difficult corner.
I have cut the radius of this corner so much that I wouldn't be able to carry speed here.
Yeah, we'd definitely be losing a lot of speed, losing a lot of time. And it's difficult, though, because that's a corner that you're going to have to play over and over and over again till you find that point. And I will say this, there's not a huge amount of like reference points that you can use. There's a few, but not a huge amount. So it's really going to take a lot of experience and knowledge.
Another late apex here. The braking points were there, but if we turned in early, just like I probably just did right there, you're going to realize, boom. But now the good thing here is we get to go wide, and you want to carry wide here. You know, the corner is very inviting to stay on the inside because you may not be losing so much grip, but if you stay on the inside, you throw this corner away here. Now, for me, I'll tell you right now, I don't even remember what's over this crest right now. We're gonna assume we need to be on the left because there was inside curbing and we were carrying speed here, and luckily that was correct. And the flow here is incredible, right? So your assumptions are mostly gonna be correct, but I'll let Mark talk about this corner. But I think this has to be one of the ones we're talking low speed, but get to keep your lap time up that I have dealt with here at this track.
We've seen a few people take this corner into a V. They've come all the way out and then attacked this corner in a different fashion than many. So it's a conglomerate of how do you going to get this corner done, and I think there's a couple different ways to do it, and our competitors are definitely finding interesting ways that they can accomplish it. Another thing about this track that's very interesting is they have a lot of corners that aren't just a smooth radius. You have a radius that goes from a turn to a straight to another turn, which is very reminiscent also of like Road Atlanta's back and their back corner section there, where you have to kind of turn in, get it lined up, and then turn in again, and it can lead to a double apex situation, or you could work it with a V, or you could just try to single apex it. It gives you a lot of options to try this out. Now talk to us about this corkscrew.
So yesterday we saw some interesting stuff, and the fastest laps we saw yesterday were a kind of turn that we didn't expect here. So, you know, everyone's going to take this different, but people are now saying that you attack the corkscrew, you go straight. People are saying that you no longer make that you go straight, you cut the radius of the corner as hard as you can, and now you brake in a straight line. If you'll notice, George Zhao, even Bailey Woods, low power car, brake in a straight line, diamond this corner, and then boom, they are matted, wide open throttle here because this is not a very tight corner. And unlike yesterday, I'll show you the kink, wide open throttle here, boom, boom. And now you're on the front straightaway here at Ridge Motorsport Park. That was as best as we can show you or explain it to you. I can tell you right now that no amount of time of me talking to you is going to make the difference for you to understand it. If you're a local, if you have a chance, I'd highly recommend coming over here, because I could probably do another 25 siding laps at low speed and still not know half this track.
It's an awesome track. The Ridge Motorsports Park has definitely exceeded my expectations. Anybody who has a chance, get out here, check it out.
I agree. Guys, this is day 2. We'll catch you on stream. They got all that debris off the surface, Mark. There you guys go. You got to see my terrible lap around the Ridge Motorsport Park. Mark was jealous, but he almost lost it in the rain at low speeds the other day on our first lap, so we were not going to let him have it in the dry. We would have ended up on the lid.
You know, we were trying to let Cuban see if he was any good at driving, and I will say, out of the staff of GTAs, he's probably one of the best drivers out there, so I'll give him that.
That's I'll take that. That's the victory of the day right there. We do have Group 2, Session 1 going out. Truth be told, these guys are having a lot more fun than we did, because we were talking about it while watching that lap. It's so hard to give you a lap at siding pace so you can understand, because you need speed to push you to the outside of these corners. It's actually easier to set up when you're going too fast than it is when you're going too slow.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult, because the expectation there, right? You turn into a corner, and when you're at speed, it's pushing you out, making you get all the way to the outside, and then you're having to rein it back in, whereas when you're going super slow, it's so difficult, right? Especially for us, in the sense of we haven't driven this track at speed, so we don't even have a real idea of where it's going to push you and how far it's going to push you, because sometimes things like camber the corners and so on and so forth will actually push you in further directions than, you know, if it's just a flat level area.
It does look like we have almost the entirety of Group 2 going out. That is Ryan Clark heading out on track. Looks looks like Stefan was late to grid because he's actually of the faster ones in this run group, but he went out last. So he may have asked for that too. We've all done that before where we made a change or something wasn't functioning and we don't want to be in the middle of the pack in case it's not working. We want to be on the very back. So if Stefan's car does end up working, he's probably going to want to, you'll see how big, look how big of a gap Stefan has to Ryan Clark.
Yeah, it's a smart move there.
No, because he is significantly faster than Ryan Clark and the cars in front of him by about 6 seconds. So he doesn't want to catch him on a hot lap.
I think we see the tow truck out there bringing back whatever ended up happening.
That is the tow truck, isn't it? Did they send out the tow?
Yeah, they did send out the tow truck. I just want to jump through. We'll have to get eyes on who that is on the back of that tow truck.
Don't let me say anything. I just naturally wanted to say it was a Subaru.
Ooh, that's rough.
It's too hard to tell from that vantage point.
Agreed.
Oh, it's Efren Flores.
That is Efren. You know, we were talking about it yesterday with the Honda reliability and how we thought that his car would be able to easily go out here and run a bunch of laps, but man, apparently not. Hopefully it's not catastrophic. Hopefully he'll be able to get that thing reworked and back out there in that next group.
Well, more than that, hopefully he has completed a lap before these hot laps catch him.
That's true. That is very true. Hopefully he gets off the track and lets guys like Ray Guerrero go out there and really stretch their legs. That is one beautiful car by James Taylor. Wow.
Well, the 260Z does look great, and you know we had that small argument. I'm a 240Z guy, but the 260Z that just looks incredible. There's no way to argue how good it looks.
I'm very interested to see what ends up happening. So James actually had a little bit of an issue with his front splitter yesterday, where it was unable to hold up to the pressures of the downforce that he was trying to exert on it. And so he actually ended up beating it against the floor a ton. I actually thought there was a misfire on his engine. It was so loud. It was just beating against the pavement. Went over and talked to him. He ended up getting a couple of metal straps and strapping it to the chassis of the car. It also damaged some of his hooks there for how he attaches the front bumper. So he's going to have to rework that afterwards. But definitely looks like he's able to get back out on track and do the thing. Got a traffic jam right here.
Yeah, that right there is the dangers of slowing down too much. He had to really weave between these cars that were not there. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think he has an issue. I think that we just had a tow truck on track for a little bit too long there, and it ruined a hot lap.
Yeah, that might be the case, and he's just getting the car all prepared for the next lap. See, the tow truck's still right there. Yeah, so he was just setting himself up, trying to get himself ready for that hot lap, knowing that tow truck would be in the way.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That's kind of awkward, but we are going to now start seeing some hot laps going on. I think Ray Guerrero was the one in the front. So Justin Moore with a 55, Alex Piquet with a 202.
So hopefully Ray Guerrero was able to get out there and do that hot lap and actually not get held up with the guys in front of him. It'll be very difficult, though. That tow truck definitely is going to put a big hindrance on this group and their ability to, we gave them a good gap. Everything was looking good, but that tow truck really is going to take a toll on all these guys. One person that it might not affect that much, maybe, we'll see, is Stefan.
No, everyone who was no more than that. Everyone who was behind the first four cars. Yeah. Everyone who was behind the first 4 or 5 cars were probably fine. We can actually see that because Ryan Clark with a 56. It looks like Edward the Type R at a 212. He was actually the one that did a 154. So maybe it did. I don't see Mr. Avellina on here. Did he not go out?
I don't believe so. Looks like It definitely looks like he's got a good gap right there, so that looks like he's going to be able to complete this lap without too much hindrance of anybody in front of him, so that's a good thing there. This is a great look at this chicane coming down the hill, getting it over to the right like we talked about in the video there, hucking it in. I wonder if he's going to do a V or if he's going to hold it to the outside. Looks like he's holding it to the outside, and then he's going to dive in with a late apex, straighten it out, and get on that throttle. He's on the loud pedal as hard as he possibly can, and he's going to give us a nice run across the line.
149.654. That's not his fastest lap yet. But these drivers are starting to find some pace. Jeff Reed with a 159.87. Alex Piquet and Justin Moore.
Yeah, that was the fastest lap of Alex Piquet's event this weekend. He had a 144.7 before, and now he's down to a 143.6. So that's a really solid lap from Alex.
It was a lot better than that lap that had a little bit of hindrance in it, so that does make a really big difference.
Hey, another big jump there is Justin Moore. Justin Moore laid down a 144. Again, he almost wasn't going to join the time attack this weekend. He was just going to try to do some hot lapping because he said this was just a shakedown. This car is shaking down pretty dang well to me. A 144 at this track is a great time.
All it takes is that little push, you know that. It's really easy to be not confident after you changed a few things, but you get that little bit of push and you get that blood flowing through your veins, and you know that this is where you want to be. Obviously, if it went the other way and the car was braking all the time, he wouldn't enjoy that either. So,
agreed. I mean, he's already in third place in Unlimited class, and that puts him within 0.6 of Kevin Phillips.
That's actually super killer. Let's see right here. He's doing a closer diamond than he is a late apex. He hits the inside. He goes wide. He hits the next one. It just seems to be the best way to get a good run on that turn. And obviously these GT3s aren't slow.
No,
they're coming up on the corner relatively quickly.
There's this new fastest lap, 143.2.
It's rude. Alex is really doing a good job out there. He's confident in the car. He obviously has good lap times in it. He's spent time in the vehicle. This track isn't just, your knowledge of the track, but it's also your knowledge of your vehicle. How hard can you actually push your car around some of these corners? Because nothing is really that flat here. Some things are on camber. A lot of things are off camber.
Yeah, and one thing I really like about this track is all the curbing, right? You have all this amazing curbing to use. Gives you a really good sight line of the edge of the track. I think it really helps guys understand what limits they can push and how hard they can do it. See, this is two very good, interesting ways of how you can take this corner. You had more of a diamond from Ryan Clark, and James Taylor took more of a standard outside to inside single apex line.
I always double apex the sweeper at Button Willow, and people, before everyone did it, people used to ask why, and I said because I could never hit the apex on the late apex. I'm not kidding. It makes a lot of sense. It's so difficult on a sweeping corner to adjust your speed and turn in without pushing or without wasting time or without making the car want to come around on you. And I am the first one to admit to you, I took the easy way out.
I always believed it was the faster way. It always felt better. It felt cleaner.
You only saw people doing it in wheel to wheel. You only saw Honda Challenge, because that's all you saw at Button Wheel for a long time, right? Honda Challenge races and NASA. Well, you have to do that because you got to cover the inside line.
Yeah,
but
you got to cover that.
I'm not kidding you. The amount of times I went off through those S's on the left in the entry, bent a wheel, So that's why I was like, yeah, no more, man. We're breaking in a straight line at a diagonal, and we're bringing it back.
Well, and I always thought it gave you a much cleaner run up through the S's there. It always seemed to really help my ability to get that braking done correctly. And more importantly, I was able to get on throttle earlier than a lot of people that I end up seeing.
Yeah, but I'm in like a 210 horsepower B series. You know what I mean? Getting a run really wasn't an option for me either way.
All right. Another great look here at the corkscrew and the very different lines that people can take. And the line that you take when you go into the hot pit.
When you go into the hot pit. That's line number 3, guys. Ray Guerrero just laid down his 4th lap. His 49.5 is the fastest of the session. He did a lower 49 or a higher 49 on his first lap, but his 3rd lap is his fastest so far. Alex is in the 42s now, though, and Justin Moore laid that 44.6 on his 2nd lap and came in, and we haven't seen him since.
I think that car is a very true time attack car-esque, but he's got to go out there. He's got to set his lap, and he's got to come in or cool the car down before he can go to another.
Ryan Clark setting his fastest lap of the event so far with a 151.451. Really good. Like I said, everybody is starting to really drop their lap times. I don't think Ryan Clark set a good lap yesterday. A lot of people didn't, by the way, guys. It's not a. It's so difficult to come out to a damp track and have the confidence to push the car. We already saw someone get stuck in the gravel out there. Grass is very slippery. You can only push the car as hard as you feel comfortable to do so when you're dealing with things like rain. That's why they call it the great equalizer.
Yeah. I will say this, Ryan Clark did a 154 flat yesterday, so he's jumped 3 seconds almost in dropping down to a 151. He is projecting a sub 150 lap, so we still have some more time to see out of Ryan Clark today. Great view of the track right there, guys. That's a beautiful picture. Love to see that. That's a great depiction of what this track has to offer. This is exactly why you need to come check out the Ridge Motorsports Park.
They've just done such a good job of building a great track in such a concise space. And it's very easy to just make a track turn in on itself like this and give someone a boring track. We see it all the time, and it takes something special to make people want to, drive a track like this where it is a concise. You know that you're coming into a U-turn on a U-turn on a U-turn, but they vary the speed here so much. You have high speed, you have mid speed, you have low speed, a lot of good technical driving. Anytime you have to hit a late apex, and I mean the latest of late apexes, that's as technical as it gets. And people want to feel that. They don't just want to feel one-dimensional. They don't want to be like, oh, I can stay matted through 5 out of the 6 corners in here. Or, oh, every single one of these corners is a brake hard in a straight line and turn in. I don't think there's any 2 corners that are the same kind of braking and turn in on the backside of this track.
Well, it's also cool to see stuff like we saw in the last few there. You had a great view where you could see the dirt there. And yes, it does suck when you get your car stuck in there, but it's a great safety feature to not allow you to go and hit a wall. So it's great to see that they incorporated driver safety into these situations to allow you to push the car as hard as you possibly can, but not end up in a situation where you're going to endanger yourself. There's a good look right there.
Yeah, you can actually see him go up the hill, just like we talked about, but he actually goes even wider. The speed that Porsche's carrying, did you notice that on the left, he actually took it to the middle of the track? He didn't straight line up the hill.
Yeah.
And that helped him set up a lot better this left. It's almost like if you drive a lot of the Nürburgring on like Gran Turismo or iRacing, it's almost like hit, miss, hit right there, where he hit the apex, went wide of the second one, hit the third one.
Yeah, sometimes you have to
watch one corner for the rest. Absolutely.
Yep.
Cotton corner, super popular that. If you try to go fast through every corner of Cottons, you go off wide on the left and you ruin your lap.
You got to sacrifice a little to gain a lot.
You have to just understand where in the lap on the track your lap time is made. And, you're going to hear me and Mark always talk about Buttonwillow for 2 reasons. It's where Global Time Attack started. But more than that, we both know it better than anything out there and probably better than 99% of people, right?
Yeah.
So you like here, you realize that in that entry to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you have to give up 3 or 4 to get a good exit off of 5. And the same thing is true at Buttonwillow. You need to make sure that your entire lap is made from Cotton Corner to Phil Hill. You make a mistake between those, or you lose speed between those sections, it's over. You lose a little bit of speed going into Cotton, or you lose a little bit of speed through the S's, it doesn't actually ruin your lap. Your lap is made from Cotton to Phil Hill.
Yeah, and those are the type of things where guys just have to get under the guidance of people who do really good data review, right? Data review is a very important factor that you have to work with and deal with in time attack. That's how you're going to really get your lap times down. And lucky for us, what do we have out there? A ton of stuff. There's all sorts of data.
There's poor man data acquisition out there. AIM solos.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get and if you have a newer car, it gets even better. You get the AIM Solo 2 DL. It plugs into your OBD port. Yep. It takes data like throttle, braking, steering position. If your car has a built-in yaw sensor, it'll grab all of it.
And it's a great situation to be able to, hey, Cuban, go drive my car. I'm going to compare your data to my data. And then we can get an idea, hey, where are you faster? Where am I slower? And you can really take that, edit that, and obviously you can just take your data as a whole and say, hey, someone who's better than me, can you review this, give me some ideas? I know there's all sorts of Facebook groups and all sorts of data acquisition groups
Well,
out there
and
that help out.
in every series, everywhere, there's always people that just understand it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We have people that drive with us that actually do data acquisition stuff for a living.
Yeah.
And they're always helping. They're always willing to help a competitor. So that's the cool part, though. That's how you improve. Now, the biggest mistake people make, in our opinion, and that's like what we were talking about, is you try to focus on too many things at once. I have to hit every apex on this lap, and then you actually go significantly slower instead of focusing on, I need to clean up this sector right here. And if you just think of it like that, you're always going to be faster. But just speaking of faster, Alex Piquet with his fastest time of the event, a 1:42.577. Justin Moore just behind him at a 44.608. That is going to be the end of Group 2, Session 1.
モータースポーツで得た高度な技術をすべてのレイズホイール一本に込める魂は永遠に変わらない。ビヨンド・ザ・レボリューション。ザ・コンセプト・イズ・レーシング。
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU. The performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
The 20th anniversary of American Time Attack is approaching fast. From the days of import tuning magazines to digital dominance, this thing of ours is here to stay. Tune in to Global Time Attack Finals at Button Willow November the 9th and 10th to celebrate where it all began.
We do have Group 1, a Session 1 going out on track. I just love watching these videos, for the most part, these commercials, because I saw, like, you guys out there watching, you may not know how true it is, but I see the Link commercial come up, right? And that comes into my everyday line of work. It's what we do. We're a tuning shop. And when we hit up Link, they tell you 24-hour day assistance, six days a week. I am not kidding you. Tony will be on the dyno. He will send Link a message. It's 1 to 2 minutes and you have a response, and now you're in a complete conversation. Wow. It's incredible what these companies do, and we have nothing but love for the fact that they support us here at Global Time Attack, because they're the kind of company that not only supports us, they support our racers, and they support the shops that support our racers, and it's so cool to see a company do that. More than anything, though, it's even better to see people like Lawrence Yun and all these other drivers out on track ready to lay some flyers.
Yeah, these guys are going to be going hard and fast. It's definitely going to be a situation where they're going to be pushing as fast as they possibly can go. This is great conditions. I'm excited to see what they can lay down.
Well, yeah, and the fastest time laid down yesterday was actually by Zhenyang Huang in that exhibition class McLaren. It was flying yesterday.
Yeah,
Lawrence Yun right behind him, though. Let's not count him out.
Yeah, that 136.4 that he laid down was absolutely astounding. And this is a guy that was not here yesterday, Danny Payne, in his 911 GT3 Cup car.
We have Yingji Pan right behind them, though, in the actual limited class GT3 RS, laying down flyers with George Zhao right behind. And I think we'll see Yingji and George Zhao both lay down faster laps than yesterday. They're both at a 140. They're 30s cars, absolutely. And the thing is, any lap that they go faster, they're absolutely resetting their own records.
Yep. And I think they're just going to play off each other. They're actually pitted right next to each other.
Bailey Wood says that he really has to just put a lap together to break the 40-second barrier.
No brake lights. No brake lights right there.
For those of you wondering, we talked to him this morning, and he is not braking until the 50-meter mark of turn 2.
That is wild. He is a lower horsepower car, so it does make a little bit more sense.
But that doesn't matter how low the horsepower. That's just how high his confidence is.
Agreed. And he did say, what did he say this morning?
He said he had to put a lap together to go sub 40. He said, number one, he put on sticker tires yesterday, so he is on the stickiest. Yesterday night. So
yesterday night, yeah.
He is on the best tires he could possibly be. The sun has been out and putting heat in the track, but the weather is incredible. It feels great outside. My weather forecast over here is telling me it's 64 degrees. Obviously, it was in the 50s earlier. That would have been even hotter if it was in the 50s with the sun, but this should be enough for these drivers to lay down fast laps. Speaking of which, Zhenyang Huang with a 37.471 right off the bat.
I'll be interested to see if it just continues to drop really quickly. Lawrence lays down a 141.7. So maybe the track isn't quite ready yet for those flyers, or maybe they just have to get a couple laps in before their tires are ready to go in this class. Pan with a 142. Payne with a first lap on the boards with a 156. Zhao with a 144 right off the bat.
Yeah, George seems to be hit or miss about that instant fast lap or not. I could never just go out and go 10-10. So listen, I'm not a time track driver. I'm just not that good. I just looked really cool in my Type R.
That was some really good braking by Kevin there. Mr. Phillips, he is driving this S10 pickup truck to a T. He is hitting all the right marks and getting it done.
Kevin Phillips with a 150.842. His fastest lap is a 44. So this is the question of what we always talk about with these drivers. Is the second lap the fastest lap when it's this kind of weather? And yeah, you would believe so.
I might think, a lot of these guys are using slick tires, really sticky tires, so maybe they just got to get some more heat in the tires. And we're seeing, what do we see right there going by the start finish? Xingjing, that's a U name, sorry.
What, Zhenyang Huang?
Yeah, Hung, there you go. He just ran a 137 on his second lap.
That was actually his first lap. He hasn't done another one, my friend. RaceHero.io or the Race Hero app is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, I read it wrong.
Notice how it says 1?
Yeah, I can't read 1s or 2s.
So that's why you took 3rd, 4th, or 5th? Or?
Yeah, that's why I took 4th usually.
We do have a lot of drivers who have not set their second. Speaking of which, so Yingji Pan with his GT3 RS just did a 148.31. Fastest true time attack car of this session currently.
He's helping me prove my point of maybe they need some more heat in the tires and helping each other out.
Well, it's too cool outside, I think. The sun is out, but the sun is not out. You know when you can see the sun through the clouds and it's bright, but it's not actually beating down? That's where the sun is right now.
Yeah, Danny Payne just put down a good second lap with a 151.
It's the constant argument we always had at GTA Finals, how the second session's the faster session.
I truly believe
but
it
the
is.
problem is here, it could still be true, but it could be too warm also because we started 8 there for time attack. We started 10 for time attack here. So it's kind of in between. I think more importantly, I want to see what Kevin Phillips lays down here. I mean, he has to at least take 4 or 5 seconds off this lap to take another 4 or 5 after. 46.5. Kevin Phillips is not in the speed range we would be expecting, seeing as when it was much worse condition, he ran a 44.
Yeah, I just wonder. I wonder what's really hindering them from being able to get this lap times down to where they need to be.
Ryan Frazier, like the TV show, a 146.021.
Good lap from him, but still, we're not quite where it needs to be. He was down 2 seconds faster than that lap yesterday, so. Lawrence Yun throws down a 138.8. Again, that's 2 seconds off his previous best from yesterday. He was at a 136.8 yesterday. So we're seeing this weird 2-second delta. I wonder what this is going on.
I don't know, but a great point was just made for me from our timing and scoring guy. Justin Moore did reset the unlimited all-wheel drive record at a 144.
Oh, Mr. I'm just shaking my car down, just breaks a record.
Yeah, he does. That's incredible. We did miss that last session. We have some of the best people working with us who love to let me know when I miss things, and I think that's the best way to do it. You know, being forced to remember to do something is one thing, but to do it to spit at me is the best feeling in the world. I truly do appreciate them. Now, what we're trying to see is George Zhao back into the 40s. You know, like Yingji Pan is in the 40s, but I don't believe that's his fastest 40. George Zhao is at a 41.113. He just isn't at the pace that he was yesterday. But does he have tires?
That's going to be a good question too. You know, what kind of tires did he bring? Are they going to be good enough? He might not have enough left in him. Because you're really having to work these tires, right? Like in a car like that, you're really working these tires to get that lap time.
And these cars aren't, you know, truth be told, these cars aren't the lightest thing in the world, right? I mean, we're talking about GT3 Cup, you know, like Porsche GT3s. They're still 3,000 something pounds. You know what I mean? An Audi R8, come on, man. That's not a light vehicle by any means. So even in the cooler conditions, they go through tires. I thought I saw George Zhao go down the downhill but not come down the front straight. Maybe he went into the pits. No, it looks like just a Porsche in the pits, so maybe I didn't see. There's George going down the downhill right now.
He does take a very good line through that. I really like George's line through that section.
Yeah, Danny Payne's looking pretty good here too. It looks like he's rounding it a lot more, but you know, each car is going to handle a little bit differently. He still entered at the first apex, but he just rounded it a lot more. George Zhao with a 140.621. I think that is his fastest 140, by the way. George Zhao did a 143. Oh, no, so he's about 0.3 off his fastest time. And Yingji Pan is about 0.7 because he did a 40.1. He was the one we expected to see in the 39s immediately.
Yeah, so that's getting them, what, 2, 3, 4 laps before they're getting their best lap times?
Yeah, but it was different when it was cooler yesterday. I feel like it's going to be very difficult for them to lay a faster lap. Now, what I like to see here is Bailey Woods laid down a 42 and came straight into the hot pits. He didn't waste any tire, any time. He was in there for quite some time talking to his team, making small changes, I'm assuming.
There's
and
a
now
good
he's
look
going
at
for
Kevin's
a flyer.
truck right there. Great
I
look.
love Kevin's truck. Sounds great, drives great. For those of you wondering, he's actually on a 4-speed dog box. He is hitting limiter down the front straight.
Yeah, that sucks for him, though, man. I mean, it's crazy that he's on a 4-speed dog, but it sucks because that really is going to take away a lot of time as he's not able to really just continue accelerating up to turn 1.
No, but it also just makes his lap time that much more impressive.
Exactly, right? Bailey's definitely going to be on a flyer here. He came into the pits, probably made some
Look at Bailey
adjustments.
Woods right here. Honestly, he's absolutely getting it. It's one of those... Bailey's in that white BMW is pushing at a level where you would just not expect a car of that power level to push. But luckily, we have picked up Kevin Phillips. This is going to be his warm-up lap. Bailey was on a flyer.
Oh.
Ooh. Looks like George Zhao did something because they absolutely just red flagged him right now. I didn't have a chance to see what it was.
Got a car stopped on track.
Oh, car stopped on track. Kevin Phillips?
Kind of looks like Kevin.
The thing is, though, I don't know. It's
everyone's
stopping.
Yeah.
Everyone saw the red flag. Absolutely, everyone saw the red flag. So we're gonna have every single car stopped, which is the correct thing to do for any of you guys watching. If you're at a track and you see a red flag, you stop within view of a flagger.
Yeah, we'll try to give you guys an update on what happened and what's going on.
My assumption here is that someone said they saw something on fire on George's car.
Yeah, that could be a good assumption. They do have the fire guys coming out there to check it out. They don't really see anything. I don't see any smoke or anything coming off.
No. I mean, it could have been something as simple as a rear brake caliper, you know what I mean, or a front brake caliper, which could have just put itself out.
Yeah.
Flaggers are not the kind of people to just randomly scream fire. You know, they had to have seen something to make them want to do that. Now, if there was an issue with George's car, like if they just told him to turn around and get off track right now and they caught something that he didn't know, that's even crazier. Sometimes these track guys will find things faster than a driver will and, you know, just absolutely save whatever's going to happen. So we'll get you a little bit more information when we can. George gets to live the life of being one of the very few people ever to drive backwards down the front straight here at Ridge Motorsport Park and into the pits.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? They're just trying to be as safe as possible. It could have been as simple as maybe some tire debris got into the caliper or something like that too, and that could have been something that, you know, ignited. But we're better to be safe than sorry in this situation and get him in, you know, stop him where he needs to be, make sure everything's all good. We'd rather see that than the alternative.
Yeah, but Bailey Woods was on a hot lap.
I know that's heartbreaking for Bailey. That's probably going to be something that he's going to be pretty upset about. But, you know, we got to watch out for the safety of the competitors over the ability for one guy to get a lap. Beautiful view there of Zhao's car. Absolutely astonishing car. Love the aggressive look of that vehicle. Speaking of Bailey Woods, there he is right there, and he's ready. We still have 7 minutes left in the session, so ample time for him to be able to go back out and really push that
No,
fire.
I think we do 15 minutes right now, but I'll double check the schedule for you. Maybe you should also look at that. So they went hot from 11 to 11:15. They only have
15
about
minutes.
yeah. I mean, we have a little bit of leeway. They may have about 2 minutes left. 2 minutes because it's 11:14.
So if they're going to let them back out, my assumption is they're going to let them do a warm-up.
It depends how
and a
slow
hop.
you. It depends how slow you do that warm up lap. To be honest with you,
Okay.
these tires are already up to temp, so they probably wouldn't be doing them very slow anyways.
Correct.
I know Bailey Woods wants this lap.
Oh,
I know Youngji Pan wants this lap too. He pushes every lap he's out there. Race control's waiting to get their message here that it's okay. Okay, so if our guys are willing to send them out, just a heads up, we're not going to send someone out into a checkered flag. So we know that these guys are going to get at least one more hot lap. That's also really good for Kevin Phillips.
Absolutely.
See, it is straight metal. The look is straight metal, but the reason I love it is it follows the silver livery that's cutting his blue and black.
Yeah, we were having a discussion yesterday. We were trying to decide if his was raw aluminum on the side of his truck or if it was painted or
Well,
graphics.
it was raw at Button Willow, and I think he likes the look. I like the look.
I like the look. It looks great. And it goes really well with the theme. Obviously, I kind of look at his truck as something that, you know, him, his brother, you know, get together and they work on it and then just make it kind of like a family affair of just getting those cars up and ready to go racing.
No, I agree. And with this sky view, hopefully we'll be able to catch. I'd say I would really love to follow Bailey Woods in the white BMW, the second car that's on track right now. They're all on a warm-up, so it's no stress right now, but hopefully we can catch some of Bailey Woods, the white E36 BMW with the S52 engine, that beautiful second car on track. Youngji Pan, though, is absolutely going to set a flyer. Honestly, there isn't a bad car to follow in this group. Bailey Woods would be the hero story, going sub 40 with a 200 something horsepower car.
Yeah, that S54 engine is just.
Is it? I thought you had an S52.
54.
Oh, dude, I've been misquoting this man's BMW. BMW groups across the world are probably
coming
for
at
my.
you with
They're probably
sticks.
calling for my head right now. Thank the Lord I can't read comments on the internet because I can't read.
Look at that. We're already at the corkscrew. These guys definitely went out there and just got it already.
Absolutely. Bailey Woods is getting those tires warm. He's just scrubbing debris off of them. This is going to be Yingji Pan starting his hot lap. Odds are this is probably going to be the only lap they see, so they're really going to have to make it happen here.
Nope, there he goes. I thought he
no,
pulled
from
off
this
for a
view,
second.
No, from this view, it always looks like they're going in the pits. That outcrop is bigger than you think.
Just to kind of give you the understanding of, that's how much anticipation that I have to see this man go and try to get.
It's just
as
really
fast as he can.
exciting, and that's the hard part because Kevin Phillips is just as exciting, but Bailey he's stolen the show of this session, I think, because everyone wants to see the underdog story, right? Everyone wants to see the guy with the lowest power car lay down the fastest lap, and the amount of people that say I'll never be competitive because of my power. Bailey Woods says, yeah, I don't believe that.
He definitely scoffs in the face of that and says, "Watch me do it."
It was kind of crazy how much speed he was carrying on that uphill, by the way. I don't know how he made that small little kink with how inside he was. The car just carried him so far out.
Nice and controlled through there. I was waiting to kind of see if he dipped a wheel off or anything of that nature, but nothing. Got a nice line through here. He's able to get back
He's
on
driving
power.
basically center track right there. Did you see that?
That was interesting. I was kind of expecting to him huck it in there a little tighter, carry a little bit more.
He is using every bit of curbing on this track.
Yeah, he loves that curve. Look how smooth that
Man,
is.
so he goes, this is the corner that he went deep in.
Look at that rotation.
Little slide. See, that turned into a slide.
A lot of speed,
See,
though.
he did his 41 going deep into that corner last time. He carried a lot more speed through it, but yes, he had to correct and kind of, huckleberry the car a little bit there.
But that was probably some good footwork in off the brake, on the brake, getting back on gas, getting the thing through.
These corners are so unforgiving. Really wide there.
Yeah,
really
a little
wide.
too late on the brake.
Going to diamond this corner up a little bit. He's going to take it in nice and tight right here. He's going to stay matted on it. This is Bailey Woods on his, what I believe to be, he's going to get one more lap. They extended it the laps they lost. So this is going to be Bailey Woods. A 142.251, his fastest lap of this session, but still a second off his fastest lap.
Correct, sir.
He carried great speed in so many places, but all it takes is those little mistakes.
Yeah, he had those two mistakes when we were watching him, and I think that's really going to be the differentiating factor there.
Kevin Phillips with a 146.910. And now this is going to be their final laps. The checker was just thrown as Kevin Phillips went past start-finish. So as soon as everyone passes start-finish, that will be the end of Session 1 in Time Attack here at Global Time Attack. We still have 3 more sessions left, guys, for all of those of you watching. Also, don't forget, if you're unsure, we will throw a schedule up for you right after these laps happen. We still have hot laps on track right now, but we're going to the lapping group from 11:20 to 11:35, and 11:40 we're back here with more Time Attack. I do hear not just the drift cars, but I hear cars up on track right now. So good news is they still are on flyers. We would love to see Yingji Pan and Bailey Woods and Kevin Phillips all lay down their fastest laps right now. We're finishing up Time Attack Session 1. We will be live again with Time Attack at 11:40, but the lapping group will be on at 11:20 all throughout. It does look like Yingji Pan is coming in for his final lap. A 141.7, about a second and a half off his fastest. It does look like Bailey Woods is much closer to Yingji than he was. A 141.550, another great lap, but
Fastest lap of the session.
yeah,
but
absolutely
not
his fastest lap of the
group.
session. It does look like Kevin Phillips went into the pits, I believe. That is going to be the end of Session 1 here at Global Time Attack Speed Summit at Ridge Motorsport Park. Zhen Yang Wang with the 137.471, fastest car on track in his exhibition class car. A 138.893 by Lawrence Yun in his GT3 car. And the very first of the Time Attack cars in this session, a George Zhao at a 140.615, Yingji Pan at a 140.8, and Bailey Woods still really laying it out there at a 141.550. This is the end of Session 1. My name is Cuban Rodriguez. With me is Mark Yeager. Mark, what time are we back?
We are back at...
I tested them, boys. We'll be back here at 11:40 for Time Attack.
Yeah, I wasn't on the schedule.
モータースポーツで得た高度な技術をすべてのレイズホイール一本に込める魂は永遠に変わらない。ビヨンド・ザ・レボリューション。ザ・コンセプト・イズ・レーシング。
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU. The performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
The 20th anniversary of American Time Attack is approaching fast. From the days of import tuning magazines to digital dominance, this thing of ours is here to stay. Tune in to Global Time Attack Finals at Buttonwillow November the 9th and 10th to celebrate where it all began.
John said that you released him into the tow truck.
I was told the track was clear.
I know.
I did. And I'm like, why the fuck is the tow truck broken?
When you released him.
They didn't. They told me these cars that
I was texting John, and I'm like, why the fuck is there? Tony released him. I'm like, yeah, but didn't someone tell him to do that? Tony doesn't just sit there and go, you know,
time to release cars.
I'm gonna release cars right now.
They tell me track is yours, and I tell them cars on course.
And then like he thinks he's helping by parking it at the entrance of fucking the downhill. Like he went off track but parked it like people are locking up there fucking going into trash. Where you literally park where someone's gonna smash on the side of you. Of course they slowed down. It's kind of weird. A long time to get across the track. That's pretty nice. Yeah, they're not.
we're back with Group 3, Session 2. Just had Charles Lincoln go out in his Subaru Impreza WRX leading the pack with a 155.0 started out. In front of you there, you got Skylar Johnson with a 155.2 in Enthusiast class. Now we got Tony Trung in his Audi TT with a 157.8 so far. Ming-Chi Chang with a Toyota GR86 with a 158.2.
For those of you that want to see who's going out on track and who's set up for what group, you can actually go to racehero.io or the Race Hero app on your Apple and Android device, and it will not only just show you the laps that they've done, it will show you their deltas, every lap they've done, what session they've led, and also what run group they're coming up to next. We are going to re-rack these drivers after lunch today, so after this session, it's a good way to make sure that you are watching and keeping track of when your driver is going to be out there. It does look like Efren Flores, whatever issue he had, got it taken care of. He is back out on track. His fastest lap so far is a 2:01, and he really hasn't had a single session where he hasn't had to come off or an issue hasn't come up. So hopefully whatever it is, he gets that sorted. Obviously, he drove all the way here from SoCal. It'd be nice to be able to at least lay down a lap he's happy with.
Yeah, I was really shocked. I would like to go and have a chat with him during lunch and really find out, the nuts and bolts of it all. Because, it's a tough drive. You got to make that drive all the way up to the ridge from Southern California in a car that he hasn't done that much testing on. And he did finally wash it, though, the other day. So that was a really big bonus.
I thought the rain did that.
It did. It did for him. God helped him out.
We have Group 3 out on track right now with their warm-up laps. Group 3 was Charles Lincoln, Jason Aguilar, Skylar Johnson, Jared Rourke, Lan Trung, Ming-Chi Chang, Daniel Maxwell in that DA Integra. I didn't see Jennifer Oker. Did you see Jennifer Oker?
I did not see Jennifer Oker.
So it's one of those, it's really hard to tell it's really easy to tell when she's not there only because, boom. I think Efren is not driving his car right now because I am looking at Efren standing on the bridge. Is he signed up with two drivers? So
we have Tyler Clark.
We have Tyler Clark in the car right now.
Sometimes it can be kind of a fun little thing. You get somebody else to co-drive with you. It kind of cuts the cost down a little bit. And, hey, it's not his car.
Well, and there's two data points, honestly. You can talk about the logistics of it, but at the end of the day, you have two data points. One driver may be better at some things that another driver's better at others. You can really put them together and see where, as two people, you can improve. It doesn't matter who sets the fastest lap. You're a team.
Exactly.
It matters to them.
Yeah.
It always matters to them, but it's really cool to see Charles Lincoln still consistently fast out here. Jason Aguilar, though, in that limited class GTR is going to be faster than
There's
him.
Jennifer Oker
We
there.
will just re-rack them after lunch. Jennifer Oker made it out a little late. What's going to happen here is they're going to find a gap for her, but they have to wait until everyone has basically started their hot lap because she's going to be going out on a hot track, which means she's not going to have time to really hold herself and lollygag with these tires.
And you also had that Chevy Corvette of John Janakes, and he's able to get out there as well, a little bit late as well.
Well, he actually just came back from the lapping group too, so John paid for both. He wants to be able to get as much seat time as he can while competing with Global Time Attack. It is nice to see someone in a new gen Corvette out here trying to, get their foot wet with the Time Attack. Now, these cars are incredible out of the box. I had a chance to finally really see a Z06 in person the other day, and that is next level of a vehicle. I can't wait till we see one of those on track.
It'll be really cool when guys really start getting into them, and looks like we have a pretty slow track. Oh, he's pulling off track right now on the right-hand side in front of Jennifer there. I'm trying to make out who that is. That kind of looks like Efren Flores' car with Tyler in it. It is the Honda.
He has pulled off to the right, so they're chasing something, right? We've all been there where you have an issue on track, you bring it in, you think you found it, you go back out, and it rears its head again. And there's a lot of multifaceted issues out there that could be caused by 3 or 4 different things, and you think you nail it down when you don't.
Yeah, that's kind of sad for those guys. I mean, it's hard. Like you said, when you're trying to find that thing, and it could be something that's just shutting the car off intermittently. It could just be something that's, causing misfires. We don't know, but it could just be something simple, and it could be grounding issues. We've seen that a lot with people.
There's literally nothing worse than doing a motor swap and the car randomly shutting off or not wanting to fire. Or what happens a lot that tuners will catch and they try to work around it is things like your fuel tables will be off. Your injectors won't be firing. The pulse width won't be what's expected because the ground is off. And it's all the little stuff like that. It hurts. And chasing electrical issues is the worst feeling in the world. Anyone who's done anything car related, not just racing, just car related, chasing electrical is just, no one wants to do that.
No, it's tough. That's something that can cause you a ton of frustration, and just you spend a ton of time working on it.
Now, I will say the good news is during this, the people who were already on hot laps in front of him actually laid him down. Jason Aguilar with a 55.184 and Charles Lincoln with a 55.636 in his street class Subaru.
That's a really good lap. Also, he has run better with a 55.0 early on in the event. But that was Jason Aguilar's best lap time of the event by 4/10. He previously ran a 155.5, and now he's at that 55.1.
Yeah, but Charles Lincoln also with a 56.030. Now, obviously, you gotta push a little bit further than that if you want to push yourself out there in class.
Oh, that first car's back running.
This is what we mean, man. It's just intermittent. It turns off, it turns on. He would have never sat there just thinking about it. He would have wanted to try and get off. Now it's rolling backwards.
Yeah. Well, the tow truck is on its way, so if he just waits it out just a little bit longer. Speak of the devil, there he is.
Yeah, it would have been quicker if he drove himself off, though.
Yeah, it always is.
The hard part about this track, unlike some tracks, there is nowhere safe to park a car where you can keep a session going.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, actually. That is something that's
There's no pull-offs. Now, sure, they could
guarded pull-offs.
Yeah, they could park offline, but at the end of the day, that's not something you'd consider a safe pull-off. But, at COTA, there's a million places for you to get behind the wall. At
definitely some places where you can just get there and just be out of the way.
Road Atlanta, same thing.
Yep,
But those tracks were designed for wheelable racing, which means they needed an ability to pull cars off.
Yeah.
Where you have a club circuit like this, which is an incredible track, but this is the only downfall.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely puts a damper in everybody else's mood when you got to kind of wait around to see if you can even get more of a lap here. We're 7 minutes into this 15-minute session, and they got to still put this thing up on a truck and drive it off. So you're probably going to easily lose probably the majority. They might be able to get one hot lap at the end of this session.
Maybe they get a few out of this. Now, what does hurt about this, obviously, is, these drivers have a great session. Mark, I don't know if you felt it, but I was out there, and for about 10 minutes, the sun broke through the clouds. And, the sun was shining, but we're back to cloud cover, which could be a positive, right? This could be, heated up the track a little bit, but now we have nice, thick air. I believe of the people we haven't seen out yet, one of the most impressive is James Avellina. If I'm not mistaken, you had a chance to talk to him, but before we go to that, James Avellina set the Enthusiast front-wheel drive record on the damp track and then reset it on the final session where the track wasn't even at its best. What do you think that gives him as far as mental strength coming into today?
Oh, after talking with him, it definitely was an interesting situation. He was able to go out, like you stated, with damp track, everything not really playing into his favor, but still able to run that 152.69. And that's besting the previous lap record with Enthusiast front-wheel drive by 2 seconds. His confidence was sky high, and he immediately clapped back with I think I can go faster tomorrow.
Well, and you know what? Jonathan Wheeler's sitting at home hoping that his Enthusiast overall record stands. It's going to be hard for him to go from where he was to a 48. It's not a magic to drop 3 seconds like that.
Absolutely. And one of the things that he talked about was his tires, and just talking about how difficult it was to kind of adapt to these tires in comparison to his usual 200 treadwear tires. So that was something that he was going to have to adapt, learn, cope, and move on.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think the best thing we can do is listen to you talk with James Avellina, see how that interview went, and just see how he feels, and hopefully we see him out on track laying down some faster laps.
Let's do it.
Looks like we'll have to grab that for you in a bit. It does look like Tony is talking with the driver of the Corvette. The course was under a full yellow and emergency vehicle on track, but right now we are back to completely green. Hopefully some of these drivers have spent that time to come in, get their cars checked out and then go back out on track. Currently the fastest lap is still Jason Aguilar on his first lap.
Yeah, we still have about 2 minutes left in the session, so I think they should be able to get out there, get their warm-up in, and then turn one lap?
Yeah, usually at least one. I don't see how many are on track. Obviously, if you're in the hot pits trying to come back out, you're probably not going to lay down a flyer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're in the cold pits trying to go back out, and I don't see anyone in the hot pits. In the car I do see going towards the hot pits is probably gridding up for Group 2. So this may be the final laps we see of this session. Now, truth be told, we are going to re-rack them after this session during lunch, which is going to be really good for allowing drivers to get more than one lap in. When the times are so scattered because there was no true day one, it's really difficult to put these drivers in a position to be able to set more than one flyer.
Yeah, I hate to call it traffic, but the traffic factor, right? It comes into play in those situations, trying to stack everyone in a position where we don't have all the data from the guys. It's just so difficult. So they're working it through, they're getting it done, and they're really being able to go out there and push. They do have ample space. We don't exactly throw them out there with 40 cars. So I think there's definitely ample space out there.
It's personal mistakes that make them hit traffic.
I would agree.
It's not the track. And I mean, because we've all been to track days with 10 cars that felt like traffic full time.
Yeah. If
But
anybody's
you've been to
the
quality
track.
ones too, where it's 35 cars and you do 3, 4, 5 laps before you even think about it. So it just comes down to the org and their ability to put them out, and then it also comes down to the drivers understanding that I'm just hurting myself by pushing 9/10 when I should be pushing 7/10.
Agreed with that completely.
You always just have to pace the guy in front of you. No matter your 7/10, maybe the guy in front of you is doing what would be your 5/10. But you just do that because if you just keep the mentality, well, I was doing 7/10. Yeah, well, the only person you hurt was yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else. This is where, understanding your competitors, understanding the people around you, having a quick conversation with the guys in front of you and behind you also can net you a lot of space out there on track. Because if you go out there and understand, hey, you're going to go do a hot lap, cold lap, hot lap, cold lap, you can understand where you might have traffic or you might not. Whereas if you go out there and understand they're going to do a hot, 2 colds, or a cold and 2 hots, or something of that nature, that's really going to help you understand and be able to go as fast as you possibly can.
It does look like we have someone starting a new hot lap here. That is going to be Jason Aguilar himself. Skylar Johnson, followed by Jason Aguilar.
It looked like Charles Lincoln and Jason Aguilar there.
I apologize. I'm seeing people tick the markers here left and right.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to try to jaunt out there and get one final hot lap.
And here's the thing. Obviously, all these people wanted to start hot laps, and you actually see the final car in the back kind of just, teetering off until he could slingshot himself forward.
Good view of that beautiful Jennifer
That was
Oker
Jared
car.
Rourke right there, being followed by Jennifer Oker. That car looks great. I feel like they're still getting comfortable in shaking that car down. That highlighter yellow car, she hasn't been able to push herself through things like heavy braking zones or carry speed in the sections that just require confidence in the car. Now, that's not a negative at all. You build something to a higher level, it takes a long time for it to really come together for you. So hopefully she has some more time to really get out there and just get laps in the vehicle so the confidence is there so she can push herself forward.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because Stefan and her car are both set up in a very hill climb fashion. So one thing when I was talking to him yesterday that they both kind of agreed upon was simply that these cars are set up a little bit more soft than most road race cars. So because of the hill climb stuff, if you've watched Pikes Peak ever, those guys cannot set those cars up super stiff. And
you bounce off the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, Cuban, you know a lot about this. You've had some experience in this.
You bounce off the road. The Project Import. Now, listen, I am by no means going to say that I had any hand in how amazingly they built that car. I just happened to work there when they built it. They are such a great team. And the guys over there, Kit, Brett, the entire staff and crew that put that car together, I was just lucky enough to order parts for it, But they did go up the mountain, and never to make it sound like I'm putting someone on blast, because I am not. This is just the truth of how crazy and dangerous it is they got up to a section called the Devil's Playground, and Brett was on the brakes, and the car bounced, and if it weren't for the construction material out there, he had a chance of going off the mountain. He put it into a bunch of construction material front end wise, and they had to tow it back after practice. They got the work that these guys put in to get the car back together, and they made the race. But that also teaches you so much that it was just too stiff. It was just still built too much like a road course car.
Yeah, and obviously those guys they come from that environment, so that makes a lot of sense. Meng-Chi Chang just ran his fastest lap of the event with a 1:58.039.
Good lap. Jennifer Oker laid down a 2:01. She's been pretty consistently at the 2-minute mark. It seems like that car could do that in its sleep.
That is her best lap of the event, though.
Absolutely. And what I mean by that, it means like she's in a comfortable place in the car, but the car has so much more to offer. So it's great to see her still like pecking away. If every session you go out, you peck away time, you've done an incredible job.
Yeah, you're again, like you talked about, right? It's just pecking away, inching those lap times down. Sometimes you go out there and you have a breakthrough.
You literally used the word I was going to say. I was like, not everyone gets a breakthrough every lap.
Yeah.
There are plenty of times when drivers go out and get that breakthrough and you see them pick up 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And all it takes is figuring out one section, right? You figure out one small section that's Lan Trong at a 2-minute 4:14. Sometimes you pick up that one section and you didn't realize that it helped you carry speed through the rest, and you pick up seconds instead of tenths.
Especially at a track like this where the flow is such an integral part of the track. You have to have that flow to make it work.
Joel Bergman in his 350Z doing a 2:04.745. That is his fastest lap time of this session. We do have Group 2 lining up. Everyone that's in Group 3 is going to get to complete this lap and then obviously work their way around. It does look like I see Mr. James Avellina, though. He is on track or on the hot pits ready to go. Tony, give them the 2-minute mark there. They have about 2 minutes before they're going to go hot. That should be enough time for these cars to all make their way around track and the final cars to finish their hot laps. Difference between the cars and a tow truck, obviously, Jared Rourke just shy of his fastest lap of the session by about 0.2. Obviously, biggest difference between cars going around on cooldowns and a tow truck, the car gets around incredibly fast. This does look like a flyer, though, so this was going to be one of the final hot laps that's on track right now.
Yeah, that's Tony Trung there in that TT.
Does he go by Tony, by the way?
That's what he told me. That's
so
what I'm going with.
There are quite a few people that give you a different name, and I feel it's because they know you don't know how to pronounce names.
Yeah, I mean...
Zhenjiang Wang told you to call him George, right? Or something similar like that.
I think it was Herrick or something.
Yeah, I was saying he gave you a name, and you can't even pronounce Cuban correctly, so I completely understand that.
I mean, I'm grateful for the guys that give me really easy names to say. 3 letters or less.
This right here is going to be Mr. Trung on his final lap coming down the front straight. He's just trying to do better. He's, the braking issues are a thing. Mark had a chance to talk to him, and it turns out a lot of it is the fact that he's running, there you go, 159.989. A lot of he's running a tire that's much smaller than he's used to because he's trying to fit within the classing. And that makes a lot of sense. If you're so used to braking with a 315 width tire and you're on a 265 now, that's going to make a night and day difference.
Yeah, and it's a big deal when you're talking about dropping down from tire size, and when you're talking about changing from this is a tire he's never used before as well. So the car is essentially handling and braking completely different than ever before. And, unlucky for him, he got these tires just before this event, and this is the first time he's ever used them ever, which is a huge thing to kind of come into an event and try to just break through and use. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of an issue with him in that car. But I think he's getting the hang of it. We haven't seen him blow any brake zones today. We haven't seen any issues out of him. He's still a couple seconds off his best from yesterday, though. But I think he's just trying to, again, just rebuild that confidence, get that car back into position, and then go for the gold.
Looks like they're just waiting for that final car to make its way around. I can see everyone here on the hot pits ready to go live. You ever feel that calm before the storm?
Yeah, this is definitely reminiscent of that.
It just feels that way. I see them coming down the downhill, and it's good. They want to make sure these drivers have an open track. This is just everyone. I think you've said it, that you're actually the most calm when you're sitting on grid. You know what I mean? I actually fell into the other category where when I'm sitting waiting, I just everything starts going through my head. I'm the calmest when I have taken a few corners in and I'm there, but I think people like you have the advantage. Tony was the same. I've seen Tony do it. There's drivers that you literally try to talk to them and they don't hear you.
Yeah. You can get that zen out space.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I never could, and given it, I'm just, a guy that drives for fun. I wasn't competing too much. I'm out there just having a blast. But it's crazy how some of these drivers, honestly, we see them on grid at Buttonwillow the most, and places where we get to walk by them and talk to them while they're gridding up. And I always felt probably the most agitated, aggressive, and zenned out, resting B-face looking driver ever. You ever try to talk to Thomas Smith when he's in the car ready to go out?
Well,
his eyes are staring into a different dimension.
I mean, have you ever tried to just talk to Thomas Smith?
I've gotten the most responses out of Thomas Smith than anybody. I sure have. But it's really cool. Here's James Avellina in car 533. He currently holds the Enthusiast front-wheel drive record, and it's awesome to see these FL5s, man. The FK8 came out on the scene and really put in the work, and when they made the FL5, I was, my inner boy racer who loved my FK8 was like, it's too bland, it's too this. And you really start looking at them and go, holy moly, these things are just as wide without the flares.
It's pretty wild, man. They're super fast.
And they're just a really clean looking car. It's a grown up Type R.
I can agree with that.
I love it, and I love the fact that Honda's basically still doing everything they can to make these cars as sporty and trackable as possible. They're not trying to hinder the drivers by any means.
Well, and it's really cool too. You got Edward there, also in a Civic Type R, and he's pushing James just the same. I mean, he's just over 2 seconds slower than him at the moment, but he still would have
taken the Enthusiast front-wheel drive record if James wasn't here.
Like that's impressive to say the least from these cars and their drivers.
We will probably see some good development on these cars in the next couple of years, and we'll get to see where they really stand as far as street class goes. You don't usually see new cars like these jump into the higher classes. Like, remember, it took 4 or 5 years to see an A90 in limited class that actually did things that were, expected out of it. We'll probably see these cars develop in Enthusiasts and go into street, and there's a lot of great street class and front-wheel drive records in general that are out there for the taking.
Do you know of, you mentioned this a little bit, do you know of anyone that is working on an unlimited class A90?
No.
And to me,
it's too new. It's too, you can't, this is a me opinion, by the way, guys, I'm not speaking for the world. There's not anything you can do with one of those yet to take them to that level, I don't think. I mean, the engine's incredible. Okay, you can make incredible power out of it. That's proven. It's a BMW proven power plant. So let's not pretend like it's not an amazing engine. You can hate that it's a BMW all you want, but it's an incredible engine. But I don't think that anyone has pushed the chassis to the point where someone has gutted it, caged it, cut it open. I feel like the first one of those you see in unlimited class probably won't even have the B58 in it.
Yeah, they're probably going to go throw in the 2JZ.
I don't think they would do that
Really?
either, though, because it's double the weight.
Okay.
And the amount of work, there's this misconception that you can just make 1,000 horsepower with a 2J, but you can't. You want to make that level of power. You can make 650, 700 all day, but pistons or rods make 7, 8. And you're going to get people online that are going to be flaming me saying, oh, you can make 1,000. Yes, we have built 1,000 horsepower JZ with just pistons and rods, but that's a street car, guys.
Yeah, that's a totally different
That's
animal.
a street car. The dude's getting on at 10% of its life, When you're talking about making big power with a JZ, you're talking about billet main caps, line homing. You're talking about the incredible amount of work you have to do to make them reliable. And I think if you're spending that much money, you can make a B58 just as good.
Well, I mean, the only person I know that has come close to doing anything of that nature, and this is obviously completely different, but in drifting, is the Papadakis team, right? With I'm not a hyper.
You're talking about the Judd V10 car?
No.
I don't watch drifting enough to know. I remember Papadakis when he was a street racer in California, man. That's the Papadakis I remember.
Yellow Civic.
We do not condone street racing in any way here at Global Time Attack. We're speaking historics here. So we have Alex Paquet with a 143.062 first lap. Ray Guerrero always working his way up on lap times with a 157.15. Now, this is where it's difficult, speed index, because Guerrero had run a faster lap time than Alex, but Alex is faster right now, so he had to know to leave that gap, which he did. He never had to slow down.
And it does look like it is Alex's fastest lap of the event so far.
It does. The owner of this 260Z, you're going to know the name better than me right off the rip, but he actually was completely sideways going down the downhill there.
James Taylor trying to get it.
Yeah, James Taylor. We also we're having one of those days, guys. We have a tow truck coming out on track. This is not a great day for my drivers. We haven't had a clean session yet. Now, good news is this tow truck is not going to affect any hot laps that are in front of the incident, because you don't have to slow down for this white flag. It's just letting you know there's a safety vehicle on track.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, right? Oh, is that
what kind
Justin
of car
Moore?
is that, buddy?
But and we're gonna stop here for just a second, because Justin Moore here.
Do you hear him coping? He just couldn't answer a simple question.
Justin Moore has already reset the unlimited all-wheel drive record, and we didn't quite give him enough recognition, so we're gonna give him a little recognition now while we can. He has gone out and bested the unlimited class all-wheel drive record. He's already walking home at least at this moment in time. There's still plenty of time with the all-wheel drive record, so a little bit of something to put in his cap there.
What kind of car is it, though?
Yeah, that is a Subaru, though.
Gotta love them, guys. They're great. It's just Mark, you got to poke Mark every chance you get. He seemed to be having no issues the whole event, to be honest with you.
It was running really
It was running really strong. You talked to him, and he said every session felt better and better. We did miss him reset the 44, the overall all-wheel drive record, which was a 44 in session 1 of the day. So hopefully whatever it is, they can get him off track quickly. It's not a fluid thing. We don't see any fluid behind it. It's, it could have been a catastrophic. It could have been he heard a noise and pulled over to the side. But as soon as we hear anything from race control, we'll let you know.
We do know, obviously, that in the original statement there, he did say this was going to be a shakedown track day, essentially, for this car. So, like you said, he could have just heard something and just said, you know what, I'm not chancing it. I'm going to pull over and then try to fight another day.
No, 100%. And, it also hurts people out there like Ryan Clark, James Taylor, Jeff Reed. The big one is James Avellina. He did a 209. He had to slow down because of the incident and all that. James Avellina's car 533. That's Edward right there, who's ran a 54 so far. But I think while we have a safety car on track, I hope my production has a chance to come pull that thing out. You spoke with James Avellina for a while, specifically about how he felt in day 1 and what he had coming up on day 2. So the bigger thing in that is, I think with you talking to him and us seeing him here on track, I'd love to just hear what James feels about this event. So hopefully we can get this interview up for you talking to James Avellina.
We're here at the Ridge Motorsports Park at Global Time Attack. I'm here with James Avellina. He just broke the front-wheel drive enthusiast class record that was previously held by Jeffrey Butera, a 154.8. So, James, give us a rundown. You just did a 152 what?
152.69. It's awesome. It's now my best lap on these tires, which is my first time running them. So that's been pretty exciting. Goodyear Supercar 3s. But the lap was great. It was rainy all day, so I was able to finally get some dry time in and figure things out and string it together. There's still some room for improvement out there. Botched a little bit between turn 3 and turn 4. I think cost a couple tenths, so looking forward to tomorrow and see what we put together.
Well, hopefully we can see another record set tomorrow. And James, great job out there. We hope to see some more out of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
That was James Avellina there. Great talking to him. It was absolutely amazing. Again, he talked about, his lap times, how good they were. And again, we're just talking about his tires and how he was trying to get used to them and how, different they are from his standard 200 treadwear tires that he normally would run, the Super 200s, obviously, like most. And Enthusiast class is a tough cookie, guys. It's something that a lot of guys usually don't come to with the 220 treadwear tires. But now they're going to come to it and they got to adapt and overcome. So it's definitely a situation where he was able to do that. And let's see if he has any more in the tank like he thinks he does.
Yeah, and he's going to have to sit and wait. I don't know if we're going to see it. This is the one thing about time attack, why we tell people you don't really want to sit back and wait to lay down your fastest lap. You never know what's going to hinder you.
Yeah, I agree. That's something, I completely agree with that statement in the sense that people generally go, oh, well, we're going to wait to turn up the boost. We're going to wait to do this. We're going to wait to do that. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just really need to just lay it down immediately.
Yeah, and if you're going to wait to turn up the boost, do at least an early session you're happy with. But these people that are like, I'm waiting for day 2 with my fresh tires, and we hear it all the time. And even yesterday, not going out, the first semi-dry session on slicks, that's hindered some people right there. It's not just Kevin Phillips. He is going to be the main name that we're thinking about that.
Just because we recognize his vehicle so easily.
Yeah, but there are plenty of people that just, even with non-slick tires, that just did not go out session 3 or 4, or didn't go out 3 and went out 4. But there were people that didn't go out 4.
Clark was one of those as well that waited a long time when he could have.
He
didn't
have a good session. He didn't go out till the 4th one, and it was I would say it was lackluster.
Yeah.
For what the car's capable of course.
Yeah.
And now he has today, which is great. And he's been laying faster and faster times. At the end of the day, if you lay your fastest lap, it's all that matters. But you want to give yourself ample opportunity to do so. On the flip side, though, obviously time attack is the only sport where you could be broken the whole weekend, do one lap in the entire event, and win.
Well, and the side of that is you could come out in the very first lap of the very first group, run your fastest lap, then your car blow up, and you can end up winning. So that's the big ticket here. Like there's no time frame. You don't have to wait. I know there's different rules for different things, and they have ways of doing things, but in this group, in this session, like you go lay down the fastest lap, you win the event. Like that's just how it is.
It's great. It's really just a battle with yourself. We give you 8 sessions in 2 days. You just have to figure out when you're able to do your best.
Yeah, and that's where historically, when we do stuff at Buttonwillow, when there's been times where it's been unusually hot or something of that nature, you see guys who might skip like the 3rd session of the day and wait till that 4th session, and at the same time, I've seen guys go out in that 3rd session when it's a little bit hotter, and then they run a blazingly fast time, or they go out and just burn tire for no apparent reason.
Yeah, there's no proper answer there. Common sense and logic is going to tell you that you're not going to go fast in the 3rd session of Buttonwillow in the heat. It is what it is.
But at the same time, if you're trying to learn the track, you're trying to do those things.
If you're trying to learn the track, you're not going to win anyways.
Exactly. You've got to go out there anyways and get that lap time done.
It's a rough one.
I throw down things like Can Jam, right, when they came out.
Yeah,
right?
but they didn't win until the last lap of the last session.
And they
also brought enough tires to do every session.
That's the integral part. Didn't they go through a motor in that event too?
Yeah, they pulled it out in
the beginning stages, right?
The night of day 1. They missed the last 2 sessions and worked all through the night. But honestly, it's pretty unfair, the way that car is built, and I mean unfair in a positive way.
Yeah,
they set that thing up where you could literally pull the whole motor forward.
Yeah,
the way the car is set up is incredible. Those guys those are people who like really figured out the engineering of how fast can we get a motor out and in of this car, and man, did they have that figured out.
Those are the type of cars that I know when we were building our car, the STI, those are the things that we took inspiration from, where we had it where we could take the whole front core support out and literally do the same thing. We had the ability to just pull it straight forward. Motor could come out as easy as possible.
So here's what I'm going to ask these competitors. We have Group 1 coming out. I'm going to need everyone in Group 1 to stay together and not cause a slowdown. I want to see a nice clean section of racing, and Group 1 is the fastest cars on track. These are the guys that we're going to want to see really lay down fast laps. It hurts to not see Group 2 or 3 because that's where you get the most shuffling. Group 2 and Group 3 is where you get people really making upsets happen in their classes. Group 1 is every fast driver that's left on track that can absolutely lay it down, and we want to see people like Bailey Woods in the 30s. We want to see people like Kevin Phillips in the 30s, and the only way they're ever going to get that is if they get clean laps out here.
Yeah, I'm going to be really excited to see what this Group 1 can really put down, because it's going to get exciting here really quickly. It's going to get really exciting. I will say this, Cuban. What do you think? What do you think these guys' mental state is right now? In the last 2 sessions, we've had tow trucks on the track, really cutting down people's lap times. What do you think?
What do I think about the people I know? Right? I think Bailey Woods doesn't care. I think Kevin Phillips is upset with himself a little bit, and he's going to want to go faster. Which, him and his brother, man, whenever they come in and feel like they could have done better, they always go out and do better. So if that's a mental state he lives with, I think he's going to be fine. Mr. Frazier behind the red GT3 RS, that belongs to Mr. Calum, right?
Red GT3 RS?
Orange GT3 RS.
Oh, that's Farms.
Yeah, Calum. Is it Calum?
Kasem.
My goodness. Kasem Farms, I don't know him, but I can tell you that he hasn't had a bad session.
No, he's been crushing it, man.
He's been consistently good.
And he's just been ticking away, like you said before, right?
I don't know how Mr. Frazier's feeling. I think his mental matters because he keeps changing tires. He's changing, it's one thing to put on new tires, but he's changing them to new different compounds, RE71 RS is the first day. I don't think he's been on the AO52, has he? He went straight to the Nankang?
I think he was on the AO52 in the first day, but it's hard to say. I don't recall exactly. I think he tried him at the end of the day.
Got it. So it's rough.
He said he doesn't really prefer those, though. He said he's going to the Nankangs.
I don't think you can run 3 tires back to back without having the setup knowledge of what each tire needs and make an educated decision on that.
Well, Ryan's going to prove us right or wrong here real quick.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe the CRSs are just perfect for his setup, right?
Yeah, and sometimes, and I'm going to say this, right? There's an age-old adage in driver development where you go, pull into the pits. The pit crew goes, yeah, we made a change. Go out and tell us if it did anything.
Yeah,
driver comes back and goes,
driver is always going to try to ask what you did, and you just you don't worry about it. Just drive the car.
And then you did nothing to the car, and yet he went a second faster, and he goes, what'd you do? I gave you confidence.
Yeah, no, but and it's more than that with tires, though. And I'm just going to talk about the REs and the AO52s. If you run them at the same pressure, one of them's not going to work at all.
Okay.
If you run the RE71s at the 32 to 34 hot that they want to be, let's say 35, they're going to perform well because it's a hard sidewall tire. It may not be the most efficient for your car. Every car is different, but it's going to work well. If you run an AO52 at 34 or 35 hot, it's never going to be efficient for you. It's a soft sidewall tire. They're a high temp tire. They want to be ran. If you don't have a pyrometer, the Yokohama engineer will always tell us, you've been there, you've talked to him. The Yokohama engineer will tell you that these things want to run 37, 38 hot. So how can you ever go fast on an AO52 if you only knew how to set up an RE71?
Yeah, it's so difficult too because you get, you talked about it before.
And like I said, you know the
Nankangs,
you've ran them. I don't know them, so I would never even guess.
And see, one thing I think is going to be a huge advantage for Ryan is I think the Nankangs, in my opinion, are a very confidence-inspiring tire. Everything about them was easier to set up, easier to just get into the zone. I think the window is just bigger. I think the window's bigger. And so that can really help, the style of grassroots motorsports, right? Where they can just get it in there and get it to where it needs to be at a much quicker pace. And I think that might be, some of the aspects that gets Ryan in the zone quicker.
Also, they're, how do you say it, much more affordable. No performance tire is cheap, but
yeah.
Your AO52s, you're paying for the premium. RE71s, you're paying for the premium.
Yeah, like
Bridgestone has never been cheap.
I've never actually ran an AO52 just because they're so expensive, to be honest with you.
Great tires.
I know, and I've seen people like Amir just go ham with them and do amazing things.
Yeah, the RE71's a great tire. Nankang's a great tire. I've just never driven on it. There's a lot of... Back in the day, it was the battle of the R compounds. Remember, it was, the R-AAAs, the NTO ones. No one had made a good one. Then TD came out, and everyone, holy moly. And what hurt us the most is that it came out, but then the other brands didn't try to make
there
a
was no
matching
answer.
tire. Yeah.
There was no answer back.
And then the TDs got discontinued, and the Super 200s became a thing.
Yep.
The Super 200s, but in truth be told, what a lot of people don't...
Yeah, I absolutely wish that the tire manufacturers would just come out with this 100 tread wear, 60 tread wear tire that would really clap back at everybody and give a big feedback loop, essentially. Because I want to see that. We've seen it with the Super 200s. We've seen that with those guys and how they're doing it. But we haven't seen that with the 100 tread wears.
Well, what I was saying is the Super 200s were a thing because the most competitive motorsport and most paid for motorsport is actually autocross. And the 200 treadwear class in SCCA and NASA Nationals is the most competitive. So tire manufacturers make tires for people who use them. There used to be a day and time where, the TDs were made for autocrossers too, and so were the RS3s for 2 different classes, but the class that TD was in wasn't really the competitive one. And the RS3s weren't going to keep up with any other tire. Hankook did not make a good Super 200. The RS3 was amazing for its time, but after that it just fell off.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I ran the RS3 extensively throughout my street class career there, and, we thought it was the best tire on the planet. But I still remember.
It's not fair though, because what were they beating? The Dureza D2 Star Specs. They were beating the
exactly.
8008s, which we all called awesome tires when they came out. But you know what? What happens when the RS3 comes out? RE71 comes out and blows it out of the water. And what does Hankook do? They released the RS4, which was just a meh tire at best.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the Miata guys and stuff like that really loved it and all that jazz, but not a true time attack hyper quick tire.
We do have everyone starting their hot laps, guys. You did see Kevin Phillips there taking it deep into turn 1 before he hit the brakes. I just love the design of the truck. I love the single line taillights on that because he got rid of all the factory stuff. It's all flat bottom arrow. It's got a tonneau cover to a wing, but obviously the rear end is open because his radiator's back there. So it's super cool to see, and I love that we're seeing an S10 out here, an original square body S10. It's not a tube chassis truck. This is a factory chassis truck just out here flying. Speaking of flying, Zhenyang Wang in this McLaren is absolutely getting it.
Let's see what he does.
He does absolutely hit the brakes at the third marker, but I feel like the speed he's carrying through that front straight kind of has something to say about that. He does a 43.281. Lawrence Yun does a 45.376, and Danny Payne with a 148.688.
Again, we're kind of seeing the slow build-up here. We're not seeing the huge dropped lap times that we kind of expected in those first laps.
Yingjin Pan with a 42.238. Well, it is very possible that the track is at its the best it's been or the best it's going to be right now, and this is what the drivers are getting out of it. It's hard for us to understand from the stands because obviously the weather's nice. The track's had a chance to heat up, but we don't feel what they feel. You've been on track before where you thought the day was going to be better than it was.
Oh, we've absolutely been there. Sometimes when you go out, I'll bring it back. Oh, there's a solid time from Bailey Woods, though.
Yeah, Bailey Woods, a 41.258, but he's still sitting in the 41s. And Kevin Phillips, same thing, really good 44.044. Zhenyang Wang is probably the most surprising one because he's in the 30s technically, So for him to be at a 43, it doesn't tell us the story. That's the problem, because everyone else is close to where they already were lap time wise, but Zhenyang is pretty off. Did he make a mistake? Is the tires he on require a lot more heat up? We won't know until later in the session, but it's incredible how much speed that he just carried through, how that Lawrence Yun just carried into the downhill. Most people are dropping down to 25, 35 miles an hour. It looked like he turned in at a 40-plus mile an hour range.
It looked quick.
These cars are just set up so incredibly well, and I think more than anything, it comes down to, as a driver, how much can you get out of this car?
There's a more representative lap time.
A 38 from Lawrence Yun, and then Zhenyang's was a 37.433. So that's absolutely incredible. We have Danny Payne, who just showed up today, laying him down at a 143.488. Kevin Phillips' truck, it was always a struggle. You talked to him in that track trucks. 2011 Festival of Speed, Las Vegas Speedway, right? It was like the beginning of what would have been global, and Yukio's in the tower commentating, this is what I mean. That's how old school that is. And there was a guy there racing a Toyota X-Runner.
An X-Runner?
Yeah, fantastic. Remember the Toyota Tacomas, the X-Runners? They had the body kit on them. There's a loader Tacoma, still V6, but they're all six speeds.
S10 Extremes.
Yeah, but it was a Tacoma X-Runner. It was a 6-speed manual. He had a blower on it. And he was hauling the mail, man. But everyone you've ever talked to that tracks the truck, I'll tell you the same thing.
Look at Ryan, man.
I know.
Perfect on that apex.
Looking really good.
Looking sharp.
Let's see. I think he takes it late here. So he carries it really wide, and then he sucks it in right there, man. He held that. It takes a lot of commitment to hold a corner that long.
I do really like this car. I do like the livery on it. And I really love the fact that all of his tools are Ryobi and match his car.
It's actually super funny to see. It looks like he was on a warm-up starting a flyer, by the way. That was about 12 seconds off his time, which is good. We should see what he lays down. But back to Kevin Phillips and the truck thing. It's so hard to set up a truck where the rear end wants to stay underneath you. There's no weight there.
Yeah, that's something we saw a little earlier, right? We saw him trying to essentially kicking out the rear end getting a little loose. And like you said, there's no weight back there. I was actually going to ask, do you know if he did anything to you said
the radiators in the back.
There? Yeah.
The radiators in the back, that helps a little bit, but I think he did that better more for packaging purposes and probably to add the weight. Honestly, whatever you can put back there. The wing helps a lot, but the wing isn't going to help in the super low speed corners.
Exactly, and that's where you're really going to see. I mean, it can be kind of nice. It'll help the rotation of the truck.
Well, yeah, and it matters a lot too. Like, he doesn't have one laid out, but there's a reason a lot of people use swan necks. Swan necks actually help you with the lateral grip too, because of the way that the stands are set up. Also, end plates. End plates are everything.
I just saw George Zhao going out. Nice, all under control, going through the corkscrew, looking good.
He's keeping the rear end really in check. It's also, I don't know his suspension setup because it's set up to go into the pits is what it is. I don't know what he does in the rear. I don't know if he's upgraded. I'm pretty sure that this is an upgraded chassis with, A-arm suspension. It doesn't have the solid rear axle anymore.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So there's things that can really help you with the rear end alignment-wise. You actually set it up even more neutral than you would. That way it doesn't want to come around as easy because it's naturally going to follow you because it's lightweight. But those are just the battles that he has to face in choosing that vehicle as something he wants to race in.
Case and Farm, I assume he's going to start a nice flying hot lap right now.
Yeah, he was 3 seconds off. I mean, that's not what you would consider a cooldown, but he may have made a mistake late on and just pulled off a little bit. Bailey Woods is just in the 41s nonstop, by the way. He did a 41-2 and then another 41, and he just did a 41.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's not hitting that brick wall right there and just going to get stagnated.
It happens to all of us. It's even worse when you've been following the same kind of cars on track all day because you can't think about yourself anymore. When you've seen 10 people take the same line over and over, you start to take that line.
Yeah, you can get a little target fixation. And I mean, sometimes it can help, though. Like you said, he's, well, I was going to say he was behind someone right now, but
it's nice to see Danny Payne still improving, dude. 142.292. He wasn't here yesterday. It looks like everyone's coming in right now. Honestly, Bailey did an extra lap than he did last time. So
George is starting his hot lap, though, so let's see what he can do.
This is someone who could absolutely compete for the fastest lap of the day.
As we hear it go by the booth, it sounds great.
It does sound great. I don't know if he has a transponder on his vehicle right now.
Ah, there it goes.
Got it.
Had me a little worried there for a second.
Totally fine. I got scared too because the worst feeling in the world is laying down a flyer without a lap timer. This right here is Danny Payne, the gentleman I was talking about.
You took that in hot. He was.
Did you see how it stuck though?
Yeah.
This. I think this is how Lawrence Yun is making up his lap time.
It is.
These cars are incredible, and Porsche's been designing vehicles incorrectly since day one. There's no reason to put the motor over behind the wheels, but instead of admitting they made a mistake,
they've doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down
and made a vehicle that somehow handles incredibly well. And we're so far gone from the days where these cars killed people. You remember those days?
Yeah.
And it's
murderous Porsches.
The air cooled ones. You and I were at Big Willow once while a guy was sending one full blast into 8, and we just don't know how he helped me. But honestly, look at that, a 41.953.
41. That's a solid lap time right there.
Do you know what Lawrence had that this guy didn't? A complete day of confidence building in the car.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Including in the rain.
Oh, here we go. Here's George finishing up his flyer right now, coming into the corkscrew.
He carries a lot of speed into this deep. This is another car that I feel just so compliant to the driver. It's a heavy girl, but he's got some good suspension.
He's got this car under control.
He's got a really good setup, and he's been driving it for years now.
Yeah.
He really is absolutely in tune with what his car needs and wants. And, it's great to see him push the levels of this car. Whenever that ticks, we'll let you know. And the thing is, he's hitting the brakes, later than most people at those speeds. He's hitting them at the second marker. He's turning in. He's keeping it. That was a 41.967 from George Zhao.
Pretty solid.
It's still a little off. He's in the 40s, you know, so that tells you a lot.
Great
that
driving
also
by
shows
Kasem
you
right there, getting out of the way.
Absolutely, and that also shows you the confidence. But look how much speed he carried even offline. That was technically an offline corner. You don't have enough time to get all the way back to the right to make it. So he took it from a middle line and still carried incredible speed through the track. He's probably he's slowing down. I was going to say, if he keeps this pace, he's going to get hindered into the course.
Yeah, he was definitely going to be set up into failure there. Is that Bailey Woods right there?
Bailey
in front of
Woods
him?
getting ready to start a flyer. Yes, sir. It looks like he came in, spoke with his team. I think he has the prettiest diamond through that corner. I think
He's
does.
got such good lines.
I think he has the prettiest diamond through that corner. He just hasn't figured out where needs to take it depth-wise, and then he turns in, and he never has to. You know when you have to like unravel the wheel a little bit on a turn in? Nothing feels worse than turning in and realizing you're at too tight of an angle and having to let off the steering wheel a little bit. Yeah, once again, a no brake lights.
No brake lights.
Yep, once again.
You see the other cars coming in, having to brake check and get down.
And what's crazy is we're actually going to watch Danny Payne, who is running the same lap times as Bailey Woods. He's going to be chasing a 300 horsepower, a 200-something horsepower E36, you know? So this should be a really fun for Danny to see just the lines that someone in a raw momentum car is tanking against someone with such incredible skill here at the Ridge Motorsport Park.
Yeah, it's so awesome to watch.
He keeps
Bailey
it
go
so
through
tight
there.
in there, and I
Look
wonder
at
if
that.
Danny gets in the frame soon enough. Look at Danny; he goes left because he knows his car can't hold that tight angle.
It's wild, you know. Bailey's such a tactician in how he goes about his laps, and he's so methodical in his training of how he gets to this point.
Bailey tracks all the way out. Danny doesn't even track out as far as he does now. Look, Bailey does not carry as much speed into this corner though. No way.
Yeah,
Bailey slows down a lot, and maybe it's because the Porsche can just put it down harder. You know.
But I will say Bailey had a better apex through there. He tapped it right in.
Well, when you're in a car such as Bailey Woods' car, you can't. You can't put your foot down to alleviate a mistake.
Correct.
This will be a great man. This is some amazing footage here. So we see the diamond. The real question is, what does the Porsche do? The Porsche diamonds too, but he takes it way deeper. You see that? That's probably a power thing though. He needs that to put the power down. I'm going to make the assumption because they're both running incredibly
fast. 140.
Very good out of Bailey Woods. A 140.722. Did chasing that car? It did. It gave Danny Payne his fastest lap of a 41.136. That is just incredible to watch. Two cars, the juxtaposition of just the complete polar opposites of what a vehicle could be.
I would agree with that statement. It's very cool to watch that going through there and watching those two guys. Great camera work from our drone operator there.
That was an incredible shot. He absolutely earned his pay today. I think he earned a bonus today on that one.
Heck yeah.
It's hard enough to follow one of these cars around the track. To keep both cars in frame like that, get out of here, man. That was such a gorgeous shot. Let's talk about the session, though. This is going to be Group 1, Session 2. We will be breaking for lunch after this, guys. But right now, Zhen Yang Wang fastest on track in his exhibition. McLaren, a 137.433. Lawrence Yun in his GTX class. Porsche, 138.024. George Zhao, fastest in limited class right now at a 139.471.
We didn't even notice it. Holy crap.
We were following someone else. George Zhao is now fastest in limited and has reset the limited all-wheel drive record again at a 39.471. Bailey Woods, 147.22, fastest car in unlimited class currently. Danny Payne chasing down Lawrence Yun for that first place in GTX class. Yingjing Pan with a 141.804. Kevin Phillips at a 43.8. He got out of the 44s, which is great. We got Ryan Frazier at a 46.439 and Kasem Farm at a 46.525. Those last two could absolutely pick up some lap times themselves. Let's throw the schedule up for you guys. That way you know what's going on here. Those are all on cooldown laps. We are going to break for lunch. We have the good news is, though, right now, GTA Group 1 is over. Lone Star Drift will be out there from 12:40 to 1 o'clock. In 3 minutes, you will see the Drift guys going out and enjoying themselves for 20 minutes on track. I am a firm believer of you need to stay and watch this. Being able to drift an entire track is an amazing thing on its own. The fact that the Ridge allows this is just so incredible. But more so, these guys are getting it. We will break from lunch from 1 to 2, and GTA will be back live at 2 p.m., guys. My name is Cuban Rodriguez. I'm here with my friend Mark Yeager. We're announcing all weekend.
モータースポーツで得た高度な技術を全てのレイズホイール一本に込める魂は永遠に変わらない。ビヨンド・ザ・レボリューション。ザ・コンセプト・イズ・レーシング。
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU. The performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
The 20th anniversary of American Time Attack is approaching fast. From the days of import tuning magazines to digital dominance, this thing of ours is here to stay. Tune in to Global Time Attack Finals at Buttonwillow November the 9th and 10th to celebrate where it all began.